Chapter 2956 Battle Witch's Blood. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. I admit defeat. Seeing Lu Ming chasing after him, Sumu roared and quickly admitted defeat. Even his strongest ultimate move had been broken by Lu Ming, and he was severely injured. How could he dare to continue fighting? If he continued, he would only be abused. Hearing that Sumu had admitted defeat, Lu Ming did not continue to pursue him. He had no enmity with Sumu, so all he had to do was defeat him. Sumu landed on the fighting stage and cupped his fists. Many thanks. Third-level celestial deity actually has such powerful strength. Admirable. After saying that, Suemu's figure flashed and he rushed down the fighting stage. Lu Ming had won this battle. This kid's battle strength is truly astonishing. Lu Ming had defeated Sumu, causing Pei Lin and the rest to look solemn. The duel continued. The people who were going to fight next were all people with high cultivation and shocking strength. Lu Ming could not help but sigh. After leaving the Qin Heaven Star Zone and entering the Chu Heaven Star Zone, it seemed that the geniuses he met all controlled divine-grade divine energy. It was as if divine-grade divine power had become the standard of whether or not one was a heaven's favorite. Sacred-grade divine power was simply not enough. The intense battle went on for 3 days. In the end, Pei Lin, Sorcerer Blood, Night Rose, a bald young man, and Lu Ming made it into the top 5. After that, it was the battle between the top 5. In this battle, Night Devil King announced that Night Rose would not get a bye. It would be a battle between Lu Ming, Pei Lin, Wu Shui, and the bald young man. The others had no objections. The goal of those who had made it this far was to be first. Therefore, it didn't matter who got a bye. The first round, Lu Ming, Pei Lin. The Night Demon Lord announced. Lu Ming and Pei Lin leaped onto the fighting ring. The two of them didn't waste any words and immediately started fighting. Pei Lin's strength was very strong, even stronger than Sumu. He had reached the 8th level heavenly god realm. This time, Lu Ming had to transform into a green-armored ancient god to defeat Pei Lin. Damn it, how could this kid's strength be so amazing? He didn't even use his full strength when he was fighting Sumu. Among all the people present, the one who was the most annoyed was the Witch Blood. Previously, he had declared that he would kill Lu Ming. However, he was less and less confident now. Then, the Sorcerer's Blood fought against the bald young man. The battle between the two was very strange. The Sorcerer's Blood emitted a bloody mist that covered the fighting ring. The bald young man seemed to be unable to exert his full strength at all. He could only exert 60 to 70% of his full strength. He was easily defeated by the Sorcerer's Blood. Kid, it's your turn next. After the Witch's Blood defeated the bald young man, it shot Lu Ming a provocative look. It also attacks the soul? Lu Ming muttered. The corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Obviously, the way the Witch Blood attacked was very similar to that of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. It could also directly attack the soul. Therefore, his opponent could not exert 100% of his strength. However, Lu Ming was not afraid of such an attack at all because he had the measure formula. With that, the top 3 would be decided. Next, the Night Rose will still have a bye. Lu Ming and the Witch Blood will fight. The winner will be able to challenge the Night Rose. After defeating the Night Rose, he will be the champion of this great battle in Magic City. If he can date my daughter, he will also be able to get 10 pounds of Demon Night Spring. The Night Demon Lord announced. This made many people jealous. 10 caddies of Demon Night Spring, and he could still get a stunner like the Night Rose. It would be strange if he wasn't jealous. Especially some young men, who kept glancing at the sensitive parts of the Night Rose. Their bodies were hot, and some parts of their bodies were already restless. He had no choice, the Night Rose was too tempting. Kid, come. Wu Shui rushed up to the fighting ring and looked at Lu Ming with a ferocious look. As you wish. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He took a step forward and leaped onto the fighting ring, appearing to be at ease. Boom! The moment Lu Ming leaped onto the fighting ring, the Sorcerer's Blood was used. Wu Shui's entire body turned as red as blood. Blood-red mist kept spurting out of the pores of his body. Suddenly, the entire fighting ring was shrouded in the blood-red mist. Unable to avoid it, Lu Ming was enveloped by the blood-red mist. The blood-red mist seemed to have a mind of its own as it rushed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated his divine energy. 10 types of divine energy enveloped his body to resist the blood-red mist. The blood-red mist was very similar to the mist of the woman with the snake wrapped in her arm. Lu Ming used 10 types of divine powers to block it, but he could not block much. Most of the mist rushed into Lu Ming's body and rushed toward his soul in his sea of consciousness. "Leave it to me." The sound of the quantity formula rang out, and a devouring power erupted, devouring all the mist. As for Lu Ming, he just stood there not moving. Junior sister Lien said that this kid is extremely strange. The divine chi seems to be ineffective on him, but I don't believe it. It's not effective at all. Maybe junior sister's cultivation is too low. Continue. Wu Shui roared in his heart and madly circulated his divine power. His divine power was transformed into refined divine chi through a special cultivation technique, and gushed out continuously. The mist on the fighting ring became thicker and thicker, until it was almost pitch black. At this moment Lu Ming's body swayed, as if he could not take it anymore. This brat is finally unable to hold on. The sorcerer's blood was overjoyed. He shook his arms, and the 2 large snakes on his arms slithered toward Lu Ming silently. As they neared Lu Ming, the 2 giant snakes suddenly expanded and turned into 2 giant pythons. They pounced at Lu Ming and spat out 2 streams of poisonous gas. Before the poisonous gas arrived, a nauseating smell filled the air. "I've been waiting." Lu Ming's eyes lit up and the corners of his lips curled into a cold smile. With a thought, 9 ice chains flew out from his body. A bone-piercing chill filled the air, and layers of ice crystals appeared in the air. The poisonous gas spewed out by the 2 pythons was also frozen. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 9 ice chains wrapped around the 2 giant pythons, and the coldness seeped into the bodies of the giant pythons, freezing them. The 2 giant pythons writhed and struggled crazily. Not good. Wu Shui's expression changed drastically. He took a step forward and pounced toward Lu Ming. Roar! At that moment, Lu Ming let out a loud roar and transformed into his ancient god body. However, Lu Ming still held back and only transformed into a green-armored ancient god. Buzz! The long spear vibrated and swept out, sweeping across the bodies of the 2 giant pythons. The 2 giant pythons screamed in pain and their bodies exploded, dying on the spot. "Ah, damn it, I want you to die." Wu Shui roared and waved his hands. The mist on the fighting ring rolled up crazily and turned into 2 evil ghosts, which charged at Lu Ming. However, this kind of fog was completely useless against Lu Ming. He ignored the fog and waved his spear at the witch's blood. Moon slaying. Lu Ming's long spear struck out. Blood-red palm. Wu Shui had also used his ultimate move. His body turned even redder, and it seemed as if blood was flowing on the surface of his skin. Chapter 2957 Night Rose. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. However, even though the sorcerer's blood was an 8th-level celestial deity, and an existence that could control divine-grade divine power, its attack power mainly came from the blood-colored mist, which was his true trump card. His frontal attack was not very strong. His most powerful trump card was useless, and the strength of his witch blood was even lower than Su Mu's. Bang! Lu Ming's long spear collided with the bloody palm. The bloody palm could only resist for 2 breaths before it exploded. The spear's radiance did not stop and bombarded the body of the sorcerer's blood. Wu Shui let out a blood-curdling screech as his body was sent flying backward. He crashed heavily into the fighting ring and slid for hundreds of miles before flying out of the fighting ring. The witch's blood was defeated. To Lu Ming, it was much easier to defeat the sorcerer's blood. Everyone's gaze was focused on Lu Ming. Lu Ming had defeated the witch blood. The next match would be against the Dark Rose. As long as he defeated the Dark Rose, Lu Ming would be able to get first place and even win the beauty. A gust of fragrant wind blew. Night Rose's figure floated and landed in front of Lu Ming. Night Rose was not wearing much. Her skin was as white as jade, not fat or thin and full of elasticity. In addition to her beautiful face, she was even more alluring. Her eyes were like silk as she swept her gaze across Lu Ming's body, looking very satisfied. However, for some reason, Lu Ming's body tensed up involuntarily when the Dark Rose sized him up like that, as if he was facing a terrifying enemy. What's going on? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His body actually reacted instinctively. It was a reaction in the face of danger. The night rose gave him a terrible sense of danger. Clearly, Night Rose did not reveal the slightest killing intent. Lu Ming was puzzled, but he did not show it on his face. He cupped his fists and said, "Please enlighten me, young lady." I admit defeat." Just when everyone thought that the two of them were going to have a fierce battle, Night Rose's voice was heard. What? Everyone was stunned. Before the battle even started, Night Rose had already admitted defeat. What was going on? Could it be that Night Rose saw Lu Ming's abilities and knew that she was no match for him? That's why she admitted defeat. Someone guessed. I don't think that's right. The abilities that Night Rose displayed previously are simply unfathomable. She might be able to fight with Lu Ming. Why would she admit defeat without fighting? I think that he has taken a fancy to that kid. Hence, he might as well admit defeat without fighting. Someone immediately retorted, causing many people to be stunned. Don't tell me you've really taken a fancy to me? Sigh, it seems that being handsome is also a kind of trouble. Lu Ming was also mumbling in his heart. Ha ha ha, alright. Since Rose has admitted defeat, I shall announce that the champion of this competition is Lu Ming. The Night Demon Lord stood up and announced with a laugh. I'm so envious. Countless people cast envious and jealous gazes at Lu Ming. Humph. Wu Shui snorted coldly. He was extremely displeased. He glared at Lu Ming, his killing intent constantly flashing. And NBSP at this time the Night Demon King took out another jade bottle. This jade bottle was much larger than the previous one, and it also contained the Demon Night Spring. Lu Ming, this is 5 kilograms of Demon Night Spring. It's your reward. With a wave of his hand, Mo Yechuan flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out to take it and kept it in his storage ring. Lu Ming, let me ask you a question. Since you've come in first, are you willing to join Magic City Mountain and become the Demon Lord of Magic City Mountain? The Night Demon Lord asked. I'm willing. Lu Ming did not hesitate and nodded in agreement. You agree? The Night Demon Lord was slightly stunned. He did not expect Lu Ming to agree so readily. Yes, I agree. As Lu Ming spoke, his eyes could not help but sweep towards the Night Rose, as if he was reluctant to leave. So that was how it was. Many people nodded. They were well aware that Lu Ming had agreed without any hesitation because he was smitten by the Night Rose. Indeed, how many men could resist the temptation of a bewitching vixen like the Night Rose? The Night Demon Lord thought the same, and he was overjoyed. Then the Night Demon King asked the other people in the top 10 if they were willing to join Magic City Mountain and become the Demon Lord. However, all he got was a shake of the head. The Night Demon King was slightly disappointed, but he understood that most of these heaven's favorites were from some major forces. A Demon Lord position was not enough to move them, unless there was the temptation of the Night Rose. Alright, the great battle in Demonic City has ended. Next I will hold a banquet. Everyone can enjoy to their heart's content. We won't leave until we're drunk, the Night Demon Lord announced. Then the fighting stage was removed, and a large number of beautiful women flew out and began to set up the banquet in the open space. After 3 rounds of wine, the crowd dispersed. Lu Ming, you can move into the City Lord's mansion in the future. The Night Rose walked leisurely to Lu Ming's side. A fragrance assailed Lu Ming's nose. All right. Lu Ming naturally agreed. The purpose of his visit was to investigate the Dark Ice Clan's collusion with the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. The Ice Soul Clan's patriarch suspected that Magic Capital Mountain was very likely an informer of a major force in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, who was specifically working with the Dark Ice Clan. Therefore, the best way to find out the truth was to enter the City Lord's mansion. Besides, it was also the best choice to enter the City Lord's mansion since Qiu Yu and the rest were locked up there. This was exactly what Lu Ming wanted, so there was no reason for him to refuse. That night, Lu Ming moved into the City Lord's residence. Many people were envious of him. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Young Master Lu Ming, the young lady would like to see you. On the evening of the 3rd day, a maidservant came to invite Lu Ming. Maidservant, of course, it was Night Rose's maidservant. He's finally looking for me. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. For the past 2 days, the Night Rose did not come to look for Lu Ming. Now they had finally come. For the past 2 days, Lu Ming did not take the initiative to look for the night rose because he always felt a sense of danger from the night rose. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. Unfortunately, Bone Demon wasn't here, or he would have asked for his help. As for the measure formula and the battle formula, although they had lived for countless years, they did not know much. Alright, let's go. Since Night Rose had taken the initiative to invite him, Lu Ming had no reason to reject her. He could take the opportunity to gather some information. He followed the servant girl and walked around before arriving at a courtyard. In the courtyard, there was a small bridge with flowing water and the fragrance of flowers. It was very elegant. A pavilion was built on a small river. There were stone tables and stools in the pavilion. Some food and wine were already placed on the table. The sun had already set. In the pavilion there were a few lit candles. The candlelight flickered and the light was dim. "Brother Lu, please." Night Rose stood up to welcome him. Chapter 2958. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronym. Today, Night Rose had changed her clothes and was even more alluring. What happened next was completely beyond Lu Ming's expectations. The Night Rose actually used all means to seduce Lu Ming, as if they wanted to rape him on the spot. Fortunately, Lu Ming was mentally strong and managed to resist the temptation. That was because Lu Ming instinctively felt a deep sense of danger from the Night Rose. This sense of danger caused his mind to tremble. Lu Ming felt that the Night Rose seemed to want to eat him. Therefore, Lu Ming calmed down. "Lu Ming, can you not leave tonight?" After her actions were ineffective against Lu Ming, Night Rose spoke again. Even a fool could understand what she meant. Any normal man would not be able to resist such temptation. However, Lu Ming had completely calmed down. He felt that the sense of danger coming from the dark rose was getting stronger and stronger. He had a feeling that if he couldn't resist the temptation and really had sex with the Night Rose, he would probably die. Lu Ming's mind was spinning rapidly as he thought of a countermeasure. Night Rose's small hands were already moving around Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the small hand of the Night Rose. He gritted his teeth and put on an expression as if he was resisting the temptation. "Miss Chongwei, Lu Ming has never experienced such a thing. Moreover, we don't know much about it. It's not very good to do such a thing." "What's not good about it?" "You can slowly understand it in the future." The Night Rose smiled faintly. Her breath was like orchids and a fragrance rushed into Lu Ming's nose. Lu Ming's heart beat faster. "No, there's poison in this fragrance." Lu Ming was greatly shocked. He finally sensed that there was poison in the fragrance. This poison could stimulate the burning desire in one's body. It was no wonder that, even with Lu Ming's mental fortitude, he could not remain calm. This Night Rose is indeed up to no good. Could it be that she's cultivating some kind of evil technique that absorbs yang to supplement yin? Lu Ming's mind was racing. He guessed that Night Rose had cultivated some kind of evil art and had taken a fancy to his talent, so she wanted to use this evil art on him. "Old Liang, I'll leave it to you." Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to the quantity formula. Immediately, the quantity formula emitted an attractive force and absorbed the poison. Lu Ming calmed down completely. Lu Ming circulated his divine power and shook it slightly. He pushed the dark rose away and moved to a stone bench at the side. "Miss Rose, I'm a traditional person. Before I fully understand it, I will not have sex with any woman. Please forgive me," Lu Ming said, putting on the look of a gentleman. This fellow. Night Rose secretly gritted her teeth and secretly despised him in her heart. She didn't expect that he would still have such stubborn thoughts. Forcing out a smile, Dark Rose said, "Brother Lu, please don't misunderstand me. I was just testing you. Brother Lu, you're indeed a gentleman. I'm impressed. Come on, let's continue drinking." "Ah!" Lu Ming felt contempt in his heart. Testing? If Lu Ming had not resisted the temptation just now, he would have lost his virginity. "Come drink." Naturally, Lu Ming would not show it on his face. He picked up his glass and drank with Dark Rose. Next it was time to chat. "By the way, Miss Rose, I heard that there's a group of demon slaves in Magic City. I wonder where they're being held?" Lu Ming asked calmly while drinking. "Demon slave? They're all locked up in the Colosseum." After being rejected by Lu Ming, Night Rose seemed to be a little absent-minded. She answered casually and did not think much about it. Animal arena? Beast fighting. Lu Ming's heart was filled with cold killing intent, but he did not show it on his face. Lu Ming controlled his temper and drank a few more glasses. He then found an excuse to leave. Then I won't be sending you off, Rose, said Night Rose with a smile. No need to send me off, Lu Ming said and then left the place. After watching Lu Ming leave, a ferocious look appeared on Night Rose's face. Her eyes were filled with greed. A third-level celestial deity actually has such terrifying combat strength. It's extremely rare. Furthermore, I can feel an incomparably exuberant life force. I must obtain it, I must obtain it. Lu Ming, you won't be able to escape from me. The Night Rose let out a sharp laugh, which was extremely terrifying. Oh! Lu Ming left the mansion of the Night Rose. He did not return to his room but left the city lord's mansion directly. He asked someone for the location of the animal arena, and headed there directly. His heart was burning with anxiety. He didn't know how Qiu Yu, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong were doing after so many days. If anything happened to them, Lu Ming would flatten Magic City Mountain. The Colosseum was huge and was not far from the city lord's mansion. It was a huge building. When Lu Ming neared the Colosseum, he heard a deafening roar coming from the Colosseum. Lu Ming walked toward the main entrance of the animal arena. There were guards at the entrance of the Colosseum, blocking Lu Ming. The entrance fee is 1,000 mid-grade god crystals. One of the burly men said coldly. Lu Ming gave him 1,000 mid-grade divine crystals and walked into the Colosseum. As they walked into the Colosseum, the cheers became even more intense, wave after wave. Chapter 2958 Demonic Slave. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. The Colosseum was circular in shape and there was a huge fighting stage in the middle. There were seats all around the fighting ring. At this moment, 90% of the seats were occupied by people of all kinds. Roar! At this moment, a huge battle was taking place in the middle of the fighting ring. An expert from the Serpentmen race was currently engaged in an intense battle with the Desolate Beast. The Serpentmen experts were first-level celestial deities, and that Desolate Beast was also first-level celestial deity. The two of them were at the same cultivation level, and the battle was extremely brutal. However, that Desolate Beast was clearly more ferocious. It was not afraid of death and it roared continuously as it pounced towards the Serpentmen expert. The Serpentmen experts were gradually losing and were forced to retreat. Roar! In the end, the Desolate Beast went crazy. It risked its own injuries and tore the Serpentmen expert into pieces, causing blood to splatter all over the ground. Alright. Good kill, it's exciting. At the scene there was another wave of cheers. Countless people were shouting excitedly. Men, clean up. Immediately, someone came to the fighting ring and cleaned up the corpses of the human-snake hybrid clan, and wiped the bloodstains. The injured dire beast was also brought down. Following that, another battle broke out. The target of the battle was a burly human, and on the other side it was still a desolate beast. It's time to bet, it's time to start betting. Both sides have peak stage 9 true god cultivation. Which side are you betting on? An old man stood in the air above the fighting ring, and his voice spread throughout the entire arena. I think the desolate beast is stronger. I'll bet 10,000 mid-grade divine crystals on the desolate beast. No, I think that human warrior's blood chi is surging and full of killing intent. I think he'll be stronger. I bet 20,000 divine crystals on the human warrior. Many people began to place their bets. However, it was very simple for them to place their bets. Many of them had something like an array card in their hands. They would enter the amount of money they had bet on and who they wanted to bet on. When they left this place, they would calculate the results. The Colosseum was organized by the Night Demon King, and no one dared to renege on their debt. The bets were placed and the battle began. The burly human and the wild beast were engaged in a fierce battle. Both of them were at peak stage 9 true god realm. However, the moment they attacked, the burly human had the upper hand. The human's attack was decisive, and one could tell with a single glance that he was someone who had experienced hundreds of battles. His attack power was very powerful. From the start, he was suppressing the desolate beast. I'm winning, I'm winning. Those who bet on the human race were overjoyed, while those who bet on the wild beast side. Kill. After fighting the wild beast for dozens of moves, the burly human roared and slashed out, beheading the wild beast. The burly human won. Men, clean up. In the sky above the fighting ring, the old man ordered again. Wait a moment. At this moment, a silver-robed young man stood up from his seat and stepped out in the air. It's Wen Xing. That human is finished. That's right. I think Wen Xing has bet wrongly again. He bet on the desolate beast. Every time he bets wrongly, he will be in a bad mood. Once he is in a bad mood, he will kill someone. Shush, lower your voice. He's the son of the devil lord. Many people started whispering to each other when they saw the young man. They seemed to be very afraid of him. Demon Master was a name for the demon capital. Under the Night Demon King there were 9 demon masters. Each demon master's cultivation was extremely profound, surpassing the 9th level celestial deity. They were all half-step divine kings. In the heavenly god realm, if one wanted to break through to the god king realm, one must first form a star core. Only when a star core was successfully formed could one be considered a true god king. However, the star core was not something that could be condensed just because one wanted to. There was a transition in the process of condensing the star core. During this process, the star core would not be completely condensed. However, it was also the process of transforming from divine fire to the star core. This was the transition from a heavenly god to a god king. It was the transition to the half-step god king realm. The strength of a half-step divine king was inferior to a true divine king, but it was also a great deal stronger than ordinary 9th level celestial deity. The 9 demon masters under the Dark Night Demon King were such existences. Wen Xing was the only son of one of the demon masters. In Demonic City, he was naturally a character who could do whatever he wanted. Young Master Wan. The old man in the air saluted Wen Xing. You made me lose money. You deserve to die. Kill. Kill. Wen Xing shouted coldly and charged at the human. What? The human was shocked. He roared and blocked with all his might. However, Wen Xing's cultivation base was at the first level of the heavenly deity realm. Although the burly human was strong, he was still a long way off from Wen Xing Puchi. Blood splattered in all directions as the burly human was slain by Wen Xing with a single sword strike. After killing the burly human, Wen Xing snorted coldly and returned to his seat. The old man in the air didn't even dare to let out a fart. After all, Wen Xing's father, the lord of all demons, was sitting in the Colosseum. Whoever dared to say anything about Wen Xing would be courting death. Moreover, it was just a mere demonic slave. There were plenty of them, so it was not worth offending Wen Xing. Someone immediately cleaned up the fighting ring. Alright, the next demonic slave to fight is a new one. He's very young and I heard that he's quite strong. Everyone make your bets. In the air the old man spoke again. Then he waved his hand, and the door at the side of the fighting ring opened. Roar! The roar of a wild beast came from one of the doors, and a huge creature walked out. This was a huge bull with the cultivation of Tier 8 True God. A young man stepped out of the other door. Wu Zifeng. At the sight of this figure, Lu Ming's heart trembled. The figure was Wu Zifeng. After not seeing him for a while, Wu Zifeng looked a lot more haggard. It was obvious that he had suffered a lot during this time. Damn it, are these demon slaves? The killing intent in Lu Ming's heart was extremely strong. At the thought of Qiu Yu fighting with dire beasts in such an environment for others to watch, Lu Ming could not wait to flatten Magic City Mountain. Let's start the bet. This young man has the cultivation of Stage 7 True God, and the desolate beast is at Stage 8 True God. The old man shouted from the sky. Stage 7 True God versus Stage 8 True God? Could this young man be a heaven's favorite? Many people began to discuss how to place their bets. What a fool. Look at him, he's just a pretty boy. What kind of genius is he? I'll bet on the wild beast. Wen Xing snorted coldly, betting on the desolate beast's victory. Although Wu Zifeng looked a lot more haggard, he still couldn't hide his handsomeness. On the other hand, Wen Xing looked ordinary. When he looked at Wu Zifeng, he couldn't help but be jealous. This kid is doomed. Many people thought to themselves and shook their heads. Wen Xing had bet on the wild beast's victory. If the wild beast really won, then Wu Zifeng must have died at the hands of the demonic beast. If Wu Zifeng won and caused Wen Xing to lose money, looking at Wen Xing's appearance, he would probably not let Wu Zifeng off. No matter what, Wu Zifeng had to die. Very quickly, the bets were placed and the battle began. Buzz! The giant bull roared and charged at Wu Zifeng. Its huge body shook the fighting ring. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. I want to level Magic City Mountain. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Many people watched nervously, wanting to see how Wu Zifeng, with his cultivation at the 7th stage of True God, would deal with a desolate beast at the 8th stage of True God. Just as the giant bull was about to rush to Wu Zifeng moved. His figure flashed and he dodged the giant bull's attack. Then a sword light cut through the wind from his hand and slashed at the giant bull. Fast, accurate, and ruthless. Poochie! A long wound appeared on the giant cow's body. It went straight through its bones and blood flowed out. Roar! The giant bull screamed, but its bestial nature was also stimulated. It twisted its body and rushed toward Wu Zifeng again. Its 2 horns glowed and burst out 2 rays of light as sharp as divine knives. However, a sword radiance burst forth from Wu Zifeng's palm and collided with the giant bull's attack. Bang! Bang! The giant bull's attack was sent flying by Wu Zifeng. He stepped forward and slashed again. The sword was aimed at the giant bull's neck. Blood splattered everywhere. The giant cow's head was directly cut off by Wu Zifeng's sword. Wu Zifeng only used 2 moves to kill the giant bull, which was 1 level higher than him. This result was within Lu Ming's expectations. In fact, with Wu Zifeng's strength, if he used his full strength, he could probably kill the giant bull in 1 move. So powerful! Haha, I won! The scene was in an uproar. Many people who had bet on Wu Zifeng's victory were overjoyed. As for those who bet on the desolate beast winning, they had ugly expressions. The ugliest one was Wan Xing. Today he had failed to win again and again, so he was in an extremely bad mood. You're looking for death? Die! Wan Xing shouted angrily. His body burst out of his seat and rushed toward the fighting ring. Young Master Wan, wait a moment. The old man in the air quickly called out. If you have a fart, then quickly spit it out. Wan Xing impatiently shouted. Young Master Wan, this man is extremely talented. We can't kill him. He might be useful if we keep him alive. The old man advised. With Wu Zifeng's strength, if he was properly trained, he might become a sharp blade of Magic City Mountain. What can't be killed? I'm telling you, there's no one here that I can't kill. What's a little bit of talent to me? Get lost. If you don't get lost, I'll kill you too. Wan Xing coldly shouted. His killing intent was cold. The old man's expression was unsightly, and he helplessly retreated. Brat, I'll send you on your way. Wan Xing stared at Wu Zifeng with a cold gaze. If you dare to touch me, I'll definitely destroy Magic City Mountain if I don't die, Wu Zifeng said. He was the Wu family's young master, and yet he had actually fallen into such a situation. He was also holding a breath in his heart. You still want to destroy my Magic City Mountain? I'll destroy you now. Wan Xing shouted and was about to charge towards Wu Zijin. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Wan Xing and blocked him. This figure was naturally Lu Ming. He originally wanted to wait until he saw Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong before he made his move, but now, he had no choice but to do so. Kid, who are you? Get lost. Wan Xing was furious when he saw that someone dared to stand in front of him. Get lost. Lu Ming said coldly. What? Wan Xing was stunned, and then he became furious. In this coliseum, there was actually someone who dared to tell him to get lost. He was courting death, simply courting death. Little bastard, I'll kill you. Wan Xing bellowed angrily and attacked Lu Ming with his palm. However, Lu Ming waved his hand. Pa! A crisp sound reverberated throughout the entire area. Wan Xing was vulnerable in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming easily dispersed his attack and slapped him in the face. Wan Xing spun 81 times in the air. His face was as swollen as a pig's head. He looked at Lu Ming with a dumbfounded expression. He only reacted after a long while. Wan Xing screamed, Buzz! 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 Instantly, figures flew out from all directions of the arena. There were men and women among these figures. All of them were wearing iron armor, and they surrounded Lu Ming. Brat, you dare to hit young Master Wan? I think you're tired of living. Kneel down and surrender. One of the burly men strode forward and slapped Lu Ming. This person's cultivation was at the 4th level celestial deity realm, and he thought that he was more than enough to take down Lu Ming. Brother Wu, where are Qiu Yu and Lady Yu? Where are you? Are you all right? At that moment, Lu Ming was communicating quickly with Wu Zifeng. They're all fine. They've been locked up in this coliseum. As long as we break through this coliseum, we can save them. Wu Zifeng quickly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Very good. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a cold killing intent. You brought this on yourself, you can't live, kill. Lu Ming shouted coldly and threw a punch. A 9-clawed divine dragon emerged and charged toward the burly man. That 4th level celestial deity burly man didn't even let out a miserable cry before his body exploded, his soul scattering. The others were stunned. You dare to kill a magic city guard? How audacious. Let's attack together. There were at least dozens of Shanghai guards in the surroundings. They roared at the same time. Divine power of various colors surged wildly and launched an attack on Lu Ming. The demonic city guards were the guards of the demonic city, and they were much stronger than the general demon guards of the general demon city. Even the weakest of the magic city guards was at the 3rd level of the celestial deity realm. Dozens of demonic city guards at the 3rd level of heavenly deity realm and above attacked together, causing the weather to change. Today, I'll raise the beast arena to the ground. Lu Ming let out a long howl and cast the divine dragon materialization art. 6 9-clawed divine dragons roared and pounced at everyone. Each of them was 10,000 meters long. Although these demonic city guards were strong, they were far inferior to Lu Ming. The 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma Laksana pounced, and all the attacks aimed at him were instantly destroyed. The 9-clawed divine dragon did not stop, its sharp claws constantly stepping out. Ah! Ah! Miserable shrieks were heard continuously. A magic city guard was torn apart by the 9-clawed divine dragon and died on the spot every second. At this moment, the spectators around the Colosseum were all dumbfounded. They didn't think that someone would actually dare to cause trouble here. Furthermore, he was killing in all directions, even killing so many Shanghai guards. This was a huge matter. I'm afraid that the entire magic city will be in a riot. As for Wan Xing himself, he was so scared that his face turned pale and his body trembled. Every guard here was stronger than him, but they were all killed one after another. Young Master Wan, quickly retreat. The old man who was in charge of the animal arena brought Wan Xing and retreated to the stands. You dare to cause trouble here, you're looking for death. Demonic city guards, move out and kill the invader. The entire Colosseum was alarmed. The doors on all sides of the fighting ring opened, and figures flew out from them. Powerful auras rose up. Shanghai guards. They were all Shanghai guards, and there were more than 500 of them. Among them, some people's auras were extremely robust. They were all existences that surpassed 7th level celestial deity. The great army of the magic city guards that was guarding the Colosseum had arrived. This was a terrifying force. No one on Magic City Mountain could rival it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2961 Chaos. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. Very good, you dare to kill a magic city guard in the animal arena. Today no one can save you. A cold voice resounded in the air above the Colosseum. Then, a silver light flashed and a middle-aged man in silver robes appeared in the air. Father! When he saw the silver-robed middle-aged man, he was overjoyed. This middle-aged man was one of the 9 great demon masters of the demon capital, Wan Xing's father Wan Er. Father, quick, kill this brat. No, I want this brat to suffer. Fate worse than death, Wan Xing roared. Don't worry. In my hands he won't die so easily even if he wants to. Attack and cripple his cultivation first. 10,000 Evil's cold voice sounded. Demon Master, leave this brat to me. A burly man in iron armor asked. Go. Evil nodded. This armored man had a cultivation base of 9th level celestial deity. It was more than enough to deal with Lu Ming, who was only a 3rd level celestial deity. Boom! The armored man took a step forward, and a violent aura broke out of his body, as thick as a mountain. Brat, I'll break your right arm first. A long spear appeared in the armored man's hand. It was extremely sharp. As soon as he finished speaking, the armored man rushed toward Lu Ming. He swung his spear at Lu Ming's right hand. Although he was burly, his speed was astonishing. 9th level heavenly deity? Lu Ming muttered and directly activated the battle character formula, increasing his combat strength by 4 times. The 4-fold increase in combat strength was triggered. Lu Ming's combat strength soared and he kept swinging his fists. An NBSP roar roar roar. The roars of the dragons resounded through the sky as the 6 9-clawed divine dragons pounced toward the armored man. Break! The iron armored man shouted coldly. His spear vibrated and he instantly launched dozens of attacks at the 6 9-clawed divine dragons. Boom! Boom! The spear struck the 9-clawed divine dragon's claw and burst into a dazzling light. However, the result was not what the armored man had expected. He initially thought he could defeat the 9-clawed divine dragon in an instant, but the truth was that his body was numbed by the impact and he almost fell back. How is that possible? How can this force be so powerful? The armored man was shocked. Roar! At this moment, another dragon's roar was heard. It turned out that Lu Ming had pushed the divine dragon phenomenon art to its limit and had made another breakthrough. He could now condense 7 divine dragon images at once. The 7th divine dragon image then pounced at the armored man. The armored man could not resist it and was pushed back. Seizing the opportunity, Lu Ming cast the ice chain. The 9th and most powerful ice chain flew out and wrapped around the armored man. A layer of ice armor appeared on the armored man's body with a shocking chill. Buzz! Lu Ming rushed out, his palm like a knife, and with a slash the armored man's right hand was cut off. The armored man wanted to cut off Lu Ming's right hand. However, after exchanging a few moves, his right hand was cut off by Lu Ming. At the scene, the others were so shocked that they couldn't speak. Lu Ming was only a 3rd-level celestial deity, but he had defeated a 9th-level celestial deity in a few moves. This was simply unbelievable. Wan Xing was so scared that his face turned pale. All Evil's eyes were also filled with shock. Demon Lord, save me! At this moment, the armored man was terrified and shouted for help. If you want to cripple me, you must be prepared to be killed by me. Lu Ming said coldly. He condensed a combat sword with divine power in his hand. Brat, you dare, 10,000 Evils shouted. Laughable. Lu Ming sneered. He swung his combat sword and killed the armored man. A 9th-level celestial deity existence was a peak expert in Magic City Mountain, but he was killed just like that. You're looking for death. 10,000 Evil was furious, and a violent aura rushed out of his body. Boom! The body of all evil glowed with silver light as a terrifying pressure spread in all directions. The aura of all evil was much stronger than that of the armored man. This was the aura of a half-step divine king. His divine power was strong and shocking. Brat, I'm going to crush you. Silver claw hand. Evil bellowed and his entire body turned silver. His claws were like metal as he clawed at Lu Ming. The force whistled. Before it reached Lu Ming, the force was so oppressive that he had difficulty breathing. Lu Ming's gaze also froze. A half-step divine king was indeed much stronger than a 9th-level heavenly god. Ancient god tactic. Without hesitation, Lu Ming used the ancient god tactic at full force and turned into a green-armored ancient god. Break the sky. Transforming into a green-armored ancient god, Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. Boom! The dazzling spear radiance and the evil silver claw collided with each other, creating a terrifying explosion. At the same time, countless tiny spear radiances and chi flew out in all directions. Not good, let's go. Let's go. Countless people in the surrounding stands turned pale with fright and fled in all directions. However, when the chi landed, many people screamed as they were killed by the chi. Boom! Boom! The grandstand of the Colosseum was constantly rumbling, and a large pit was created. Cracks appeared on the ground. Through these large pits and cracks, one could see that there was a huge underground space beneath the Colosseum. The ground had been completely excavated, forming a huge secret chamber that imprisoned countless desolate beasts and fiend slaves. Countless spectators fled in all directions. Many of them flew up into the sky. It was a mess. In the sky, Lu Ming and all evil were still in a stalemate. Boom! Boom! The two of them exchanged a few more moves. In the end, Lu Ming gained the upper hand and defeated All Evil's silver claw in one fell swoop. All Evil's body shook violently and was sent flying. Lu Ming did not give chase. He twisted his body and rushed underground instead. Boom! Lu Ming's spear swept out and hit the ground. The ground burst out with a terrifying roar and collapsed continuously. The vast underground space was completely exposed. Some of the secret rooms crumbled, and some wild beasts rushed out. Roar! Roar! Many desolate beasts with huge bodies howled towards the sky and charged out of the shackles, charging into the sky. Set up the formation. All Evil roared. More than 500 demon city guards set up a great formation in the sky. The formation activated, and countless beams of divine light shot toward the wild beasts. Many of the wild beasts were pierced by the divine light and died on the spot. Brother Wu, where are Qiu Yu and the others? Take me there. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Wu Zifeng. Follow me. Wu Zifeng shouted and rushed toward a crack in the ground. Lu Ming followed closely behind and flew into the underground space. Originally, the underground space of the Colosseum had been guarded by many Magic City guards. However, now that the Magic City guards had all gone out, there was no obstruction in the underground space. The underground space was huge and divided into 7 levels. According to Wu Zifeng, they were locked up on the 5th floor. The two of them headed straight for the 5th level. However, wherever Lu Ming passed by, he would make a move and blast open the secret chambers to release the desolate beasts and demonic slaves inside. Chapter 2961 Three Great Demon Kings. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. Haha, I'm free. I'm going to kill my way out and kill those sons of B** cheese in Shanghai. Many demonic slaves roared. Their eyes were ferocious and their killing intent was cold. Some of the demon slaves here were those who had made mistakes in Magic City Mountain, and were sent here to become demon slaves. However, most of the fiend slaves were sneakily captured by Magic City Mountain from the outside. These fiend slaves naturally hated Magic City Mountain to the core. Roar! Many desolate beasts roared angrily, their huge bodies colliding everywhere as they rushed outside. There were also many demonic slaves that charged into other secret chambers, releasing even more demonic slaves and desolate beasts. After that, Lu Ming did not have to do anything. The secret room in the underground space was constantly being opened. Demonic slaves and desolate beasts kept rushing out and killing. However, the myriad fiend lord and the 500 demonic city guards were too powerful. They formed a large formation and shot out beams of divine light, killing a large number of demonic slaves and desolate beasts. However, there were too many demonic slaves and desolate beasts, and there was no lack of powerful existences among them. Evil and the others began to feel some pressure. Quick! Send the signal and ask for help. 1,000 evils roared. Immediately, someone sent out a signal. Beams of light shot up into the sky and could be seen throughout the entire demonic city. Something has happened in the animal arena. It's a rescue signal. Get ready to move. All of a sudden, the entire Shanghai was alarmed. All the Shanghai guards were ready to go. Shanghai guards, assemble. 2 figures walked out of the city lord's mansion. One was a middle-aged man, and the other was an old man. Both of them exuded a terrifying aura. The 2 of them were half-step divine kings, the other 2 of the 9 great demon kings of the demon capital. Buzz! Buzz! An NBSP whoosh. Beams of light flew over from all directions of Shanghai, and landed in front of the 2. They were all Shanghai guards in iron armors. Soon there were about 2,000 Shanghai guards gathered here. You guys, come with us to support the Colosseum and kill all the enemies. A demon master spoke, his voice loud and clear. Kill! All of the guards roared. Then, the 2 demon masters led about 2,000 demonic city guards and charged into the Colosseum. It seems that someone can't help but make the first move. Not far away, a figure flashed and a young figure appeared. This figure was Su Mu. Aha, just as well. We've lured away quite a few of the Shanghai guards. Now we can also start taking action. Another figure appeared from another direction. It was Pei Lin. Let's just wait for the battle to start, in case these demonic city guards come back. On the other side, 2 figures appeared. They were Wu Shui and the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. The one who had just spoken was Wu Shui. That's right. Let's wait. This time I must get a demon master token, Pei Lin muttered, his eyes flashing with killing intent. In the nearby buildings, figures flickered. Besides Wu Shui, Pei Lin and the others, there were also some other heaven's favorites. These people seemed to have a common purpose, and they were waiting quietly. Oh! In the Colosseum, Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng reached the 5th level without a hitch. In a secret chamber he saw Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong. The two of them looked haggard. Magic City Mountain shall be destroyed. Seeing Qiu Yu's haggard face, Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a shocking murderous intent. Young master! Lu Ming! Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong were overjoyed to see Lu Ming. Qiu Yue, are you alright? Lu Ming asked. I'm fine. Don't worry, young master. Qiu Yu shook her head and smiled. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. He was relieved to see that Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong were fine. Let's go, well, charge out, Lu Ming said. Then he rushed out with Qiu Yu and the rest. Outside it was a complete mess. The demonic slaves and desolate beasts charged forward, while all evil and the demon capital guards set up a large formation to kill the demonic slaves and desolate beasts. The huge Colosseum was filled with blood and qi, making it look like hell on earth. That brat, it's that brat. He's trying to save someone and leave. Wan Xing was hiding behind evildoer and was scanning the area. He noticed Lu Ming and Qiu Yu the moment they came out. But then again, Lu Ming was in his ancient god body state. It would be difficult for him not to attract attention. Don't let that brat escape, kill him. All evil roared and commanded the demonic city guards. Instantly, beams of terrifying divine light shot towards Lu Ming. Hide behind me! Lu Ming shouted and protected Qiu Yu and the others behind him. He waved his long spear and swept it toward the divine light. Boom! 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 A series of rumbles sounded, and beams of divine light were sent flying by him. Let's go! Lu Ming controlled his divine energy and enveloped Qiu Yu and the other two with it. He took them and was about to rush in another direction. He planned to leave this place first and settle this score with Magic City Mountain. If you want to leave, stop him. Don't care about those fiend slaves. This kid is the main culprit. We must kill him. 1,000 evils roared. Following that, the great array formed by all evil and the demonic city guards changed its direction and blasted most of the divine light toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming and the group's path was blocked. Let's go, let's... With that, many of the demonic slaves and wild beasts were free from the blockade. They broke out of the encirclement and flew towards the sky above the Colosseum. You want to leave? All of you stay here. At this time a cold voice rang out. In the sky a blood-red blade light suddenly appeared. At least dozens of demonic slaves were killed by the saber light. He! A sharp sneer was heard. Pairs of ghostly claws suddenly appeared in the sky and clawed down, killing dozens of demonic slaves. Then two figures appeared in the sky, exuding a terrifying aura. Demon Lord, it's the Demon Lord. Damn it! Many of the demon slaves shouted in fear. The other two demon masters had arrived at Demon Capital Mountain. At the same time, a stream of light flew over from behind. The other Shanghai guards were also rushing over. Rush out, let's rush out together. Otherwise, when those Shanghai guards arrive, we'll all die. A fiend slave roared. Kill! Kill them all! Charge! Many demonic slaves and desolate beasts charged into the sky. You're looking for death. The two demon masters shouted at the same time and attacked together. The blood-red blade light and the pitch-black ghostly claw reappeared in the void. The cultivation of the fiend master was too strong. He completely suppressed these desolate beasts and fiend slaves. Screams filled the air as large numbers of demonic slaves and desolate beasts, corpses fell to the ground. After a while the demonic city guards arrived. The battle was one-sided, and it became a massacre. On the other side, Lu Ming's path was also blocked. Get lost! Lu Ming let out a long howl. His long spear grew to a few hundred meters long and swept out continuously. The divine lights were blasted away. However, the combined power of all evil and the 500 demonic city guards was truly astonishing. Lu Ming continued to attack, but he was still firmly held back. Chapter 2963, Attacking the City Lord's Mansion. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. 3 Apocalyptic Strikes, Star Explosion. Seeing that the other demon masters and demon city guards were rushing over, Lu Ming was a little anxious and used his strongest move. Lu Ming's body burst out with a dazzling spear's gleam. An incomparably huge spear's gleam soared into the sky like a pillar that held up the sky. Star Explosion, when cultivated to the highest level, was said to be able to blow up a planet. After casting this move, endless divine power in Lu Ming's body surged towards his hands as if it was free. The divine power in Lu Ming's body, the divine power of 10 divine flames, was sucked dry in an instant. This move consumed too much divine power. Fortunately, Lu Ming had the measure formula. The quantity formula glowed and a steady stream of divine power poured into Lu Ming's body. The divine power in Lu Ming's body became thick again and he was at his peak. As soon as this move was used, all evil's expression changed drastically as he felt a fatal crisis. Quick, quick, gather our strength. 1,000 evils roared. Buzz. An NBSP whoosh. Each of the guards emitted a brilliant light. They formed a formation, and it was as if there was an invisible thread connecting them together. Their powers were able to link up with each other. Boom! A huge beam of divine light was formed and blasted toward Lu Ming, clashing with the Star Explosion move. The entire Colosseum was shaking violently. Endless energy bombarded the seats, the stands, and the walls around the Colosseum. Even with the protection of the array, the Colosseum was unable to withstand the force. It continued to collapse and explode. In the next moment, the entire Colosseum collapsed and turned into ruins. Some of the fiend slaves and desolate beasts nearby were torn apart by the overflowing energy and died on the spot before they could even scream. Break, break! Lu Ming let out a long howl and held the spear with both hands. Divine energy continuously rushed into the long spear in his hands. The radiance of the spear became even more dazzling. When the radiance reached a certain level, it exploded. The spear radiance exploded with terrifying energy, directly destroying the divine light condensed by the great formation of Shanghai's defense. Boom! Waves of terrifying energy charged towards the formation formed by the Shanghai guards. Continuous screams rang out as cracks appeared on the bodies of some of the weaker guards. Then they were torn to pieces. In a short while, at least a few dozen Shanghai guards had died. The entire Magic City guards formation had been pushed back thousands of meters. Such power, 1E was trembling with fear. The power of Lu Ming's move was truly terrifying. If he were to face this move alone, he would be seriously injured even if he did not die. On the other side, the other 2 demon masters were also extremely shocked when they saw this scene. That brat is evil, he'll bring people to help evil. One of the demon masters, who looked like an old man, said. He led over 1,000 demon city guards and charged towards the myriad fiend demon lord. Set up the formation. The elder-looking demon master gave the order. Immediately, thousands of demonic city guards formed a new formation. Divine power surged, and a divine light blasted toward Lu Ming. Fortunately, Lu Ming's divine energy was abundant. He turned his long spear and launched a terrifying attack. It collided with the divine light and his body was forced to retreat 100 meters. Kill this brat! All evil roared. At this moment, he no longer wanted to capture Lu Ming alive. He only wanted to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming's combat strength was too terrifying and it made him tremble with fear. The 2 demon masters and the 2 great formations of the demonic city's defense launched a series of attacks on Lu Ming. Divine power Dharma form, ice chains, 9-layered crimson gold armor, 3 world-ending strikes. Lu Ming's body glowed continuously. He cast all his divine skills and secret skills to fight against his opponent. With the power of the ancient god body and his terrifying defense, he managed to resist the attack. This brat is only a 3rd-level celestial deity. How could he have such terrifying strength? Furthermore, what was going on with his Shin power? Why does it seem like we can't finish it? All evil, the old-looking demon master, and even many of the demon capital guards were unable to calm down. They were all extremely shocked. If it was anyone else, they would have run out of divine power in such a confrontation. However, Lu Ming was able to maintain each of his moves at its peak and unleash its strongest power. Dragon Cave. Ignore the fiend slaves and kill this brat. Infinite evil roared. Of course, he was shouting at the demon master who looked like a middle-aged man. All right. The Dragon Cave's gaze let go of the demonic slaves and led the remaining 1,000+ demonic city guards towards Wanxie and the others. Let's set up a formation together and form a large formation, Dragon Cave said. In an instant, all evil Dragon Cave and the other 2 demon kings led the 2,500 or so demon city guards, and their figures flickered as they merged together to form an even larger demon city guard formation. This way the power was even more shocking. Whoosh! A beam of light huge and boundless shot towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spear swept out and collided with the light pillar. At that moment Lu Ming felt a violent force rushing at him. His body trembled and he retreated continuously. The power of the formation formed by 3 great demon kings and 2,500 demonic city guards was too strong. It had completely surpassed Lu Ming's. Kill, 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 kill this bastard. At the side Wan Xing roared loudly, extremely excited. He was so jealous of Lu Ming's talent that he could not wait to kill him. Kill! The array was activated again and Lu Ming was forced to retreat. At this moment outside the city lord's mansion. Seems that they've already started fighting. Let's make our move. The witch blood said. Do it. Pei Lin was very direct. He turned into a blade light and charged towards the city lord's mansion. Slash die! Pei Lin shouted and slashed down. A huge blade light, thousands of miles long, enveloped the entire city lord's mansion and was about to split it in half. But at this time, a giant stick rose up from the city lord's mansion and hit the blade light. The blade light, which was thousands of miles long, was shattered. I knew that you people didn't have good intentions. A deep voice was heard. Then, a burly figure rushed out of the city lord's mansion and stood in the air. It was an ape-man who was 5 meters tall and covered in black hair. He held a black iron rod in his hand and emitted a shocking aura. It was the chi of a half-step divine king. You're one of the 9 great demon kings, Pei Lin said coldly. Not bad, the ape said. Just in time. After killing you, I can complete my mission. Pei Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent as he activated his divine power. He took a step forward and charged towards the ape-man. The terrifying blade light seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. I'd like to see how strong a genius who can control divine-grade divine power is. The ape-man waved his iron staff and charged at Pei Lin. The 2 of them fought head-on and exchanged blows continuously. For a while there was no clear winner. However, Pei Lin seemed to be at a disadvantage. The half-step divine king was extremely powerful and his divine power was extremely dense. Although Pei Lin was a divine son, he was only an 8th-level heavenly god after all. However, it would not be easy for the other party to win. Kill! Kill! At this moment Wu Shui, Sumu, and the others all rushed out and attacked the city master's mansion. Chapter 2964 For Great Geniuses. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. Wu Shui, Sumu, and the others also rushed to the city master's mansion. However, a powerful aura also burst out from the city master's mansion. Boom! Boom! Figures rushed out one after another, forcing Wu Shui and the others to retreat. Devil Lord! Wu Shui's eyes focused on the figure in front of him. Including the ape-man from before, there were a total of 6 figures. Their auras were extremely thick, and their divine power erupted like a volcano. All 6 of them were half-step divine kings, the other 6 of the 9 great devil kings. In addition to the 3 great demon kings of the Colosseum, the 9 great demon kings of the demon capital were all present. As expected, you foreign heaven's favorites don't have good intentions in coming to Shanghai. One of the demon masters said coldly. It's too late to know now. Wu Shui said gloomily. Too late? You want to act so atrociously in Shanghai? Today, all of you shall stay here. One of the demon masters said coldly, his voice filled with cold killing intent. As soon as he finished speaking, a group of people rushed out of the city lord's mansion. All of them were magic city guards in iron armor, and there were nearly 5,000 of them. It was said that there were 8,000 magic city guards in Magic City, and almost all of them except for the Colosseum were present. The combined aura of the 6 great devil kings and nearly 5,000 demonic city guards was truly terrifying. Like the ocean waves, they surged towards Wu Shui, and the others one after another, forcing them to retreat. It was obvious that the city lord's mansion of Shanghai had already made preparations. Everyone's here, very good. At this time, a cold voice suddenly rang out in the void. Then, a sword light suddenly descended from the sky and charged towards the group of Shanghai guards. This sword light was astonishingly fast, and it disappeared in a flash. Not good, quickly retreat. One of the demon masters shouted. But it was too late. Blood splattered everywhere as the sword light flashed. At least 100 demonic city guards were killed. Their bodies were cut in half, and their souls were obliterated by the terrifying sword chi. In the next moment, a black-robed young man appeared in the sky, standing with a sword in his hand. This is 9th level celestial deity realm. A demon master cried out in alarm, his expression grave. Clearly, the black-robed youth was not an ordinary 9th level celestial deity, but a 9th level celestial deity who controlled divine-grade divine power. Back then, during the great battle in Demonic City, such a character did not appear at all. Ha ha ha, the Demon King token, I want it. At this time, a loud laugh came from a building not far away. Then a golden light flashed, and a burly figure appeared in the sky. His entire body was covered in golden divine light. This was also a young man whose cultivation had reached the 9th level celestial deity realm. The Demon King's token is mine. A deep voice sounded. Another young man came from another direction. The aura that this person emitted was shockingly also 9th level celestial deity. The 6 Demon Kings' faces turned ugly. They didn't expect so many terrifying Heaven's favorites to enter Demonic City. During the Demonic City War, these Heaven's favorites didn't appear. This caused them to underestimate the strength of the Heaven's favorites from outside. However, Wu Shui and the others looked very calm. It was obvious that they had known about the existence of these Heaven's favorites. Clang! Clang! Pei Lin and the 8-man were still fighting, but Pei Lin was gradually losing. Do it or else things will change, the young man who was covered in golden light said. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure turned into a golden light and charged towards the city lord's mansion. Set up the formation. A demon king roared, summoning the demon capital guards to set up a large formation. However, at this moment, a black fog suddenly appeared in the sky above the city lord's mansion. The fog instantly enveloped the 5,000 demonic city guards and the 6 demon kings. Ah! Some of the Shanghai guards held onto their heads and screamed in pain. After a while, some of the Shanghai guards fell to the ground and stopped breathing. Even those with higher cultivation had pained expressions on their faces. This mist can harm the soul. Leave this place. One of the demon masters roared as he charged out, wanting to leave this place. Stay here. A cold voice was heard. The black-robed young man with a long sword in his hand charged toward the demon master. The demon master bellowed and launched an attack to block it. However, after a flash of sword light, the demon master retreated. A deep wound appeared on his body, and blood flowed out. The demon master's eyes were filled with shock. Although he was a half-step divine king, he was no match for the black-robed young man, especially when he was surrounded by the mist and his soul was injured. Kill! The black-robed youth coldly snorted as he continued to attack. He seemed to be unafraid of the mist. Senior brother has made his move. Kill, kill. Wu Shui's face lit up with joy as she charged over as well. At the same time, the other young men also made their moves and charged at the Shanghai guards. These young men were clearly well prepared. They weren't afraid of the mist and could maintain their combat strength at their peak. As for the demonic city guards, their souls had been injured by the mist and their strength had been greatly reduced. They weren't a match at all. As soon as the two sides exchanged blows, a large number of Shanghai guards were killed. In less than a minute, over 1,000 Shanghai guards had fallen. Ah! An angry roar came from the ape demon master. At that moment, a bloodied young man appeared behind the ape demon master. His claws pierced through the ape demon master's heart, and with a squeeze a terrifying power erupted from the ape demon master's body. The ape demon master screamed as he was killed. Senior brother! The witch's blood and the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm were overjoyed to see the blood-soaked young man. This blood-soaked youth was also a 9th level celestial deity. The mist earlier was released by him, Kill! The blood-soaked youth charged at another demon master. Not long after, another demon master was killed by the young man who was covered in golden light. In an instant, only 4 of the 6 great demon kings remained. At this moment the mist was everywhere. The demonic city guards were at a complete disadvantage. People were being killed at every moment. Quick! Send a message to the infernal king. Call the demon king out. An NBSP kill. The demon masters shouted and transmitted messages to the night demon king. With their current strength, they were no longer able to stop the foreign heavens pride experts. If this continued, they would all die. However, there was no news after they sent the message. The night demon king did not appear. What's going on? Damn it! A few demon masters shouted. I'll send you on your way. The blood bubble young man sneered. Now there were only 4 demon masters left. As for the foreign prodigies, there were also 4 9th-level heavenly deities, 1 for each of them. Originally, these demon masters' strength was inferior to these 9th-level heavenly deity divine sons of heaven's pride. In addition, they were affected by the fog and became even weaker. They were simply not a match for them. Even if I die, I won't let you have an easy time. Let's die together. And NBSP the remaining 4 demon kings were all going all out, burning their divine power and fighting with the 4 prodigies. Only breakthrough. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. In the intense battle at the City Lord's mansion, the foreign heavens favorites had the upper hand. In the arena, Lu Ming was at a complete disadvantage. The 3 great demon masters and 2,500 demonic city guards set up a great formation. Beams of divine light were triggered and blasted toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming protected Qiu Yu and the other 2 as he retreated. At this moment, the green scales on his body were cracked in many places and blood was flowing out. Young master! Qiu Yu's eyes were filled with tears. She gritted her teeth and made a move, wanting to share some of the pressure with Lu Ming. However, although Qiu Yu's current cultivation had reached the 2nd-tier celestial god realm, she had not cultivated many other divine powers. Her combat strength was far inferior to Lu Ming's, and she could not play a critical role. Instead, she was injured by the backlash. Qiu Yu, don't attack! Lu Ming shouted. Young master! Qiu Yu's eyes were filled with tears. Haha brat, go to hell! Wan Xing stood in the distance and laughed loudly. His eyes swept across Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong, and his gaze flickered with a scorching flame. I didn't expect you to have 2 such beautiful girls by your side. How come I didn't notice them before? What a pity. But it doesn't matter. After I kill you, I'll love them well. Ha ha ha. Wan Xing laughed madly, his face full of ferocity and desire. Wan Xing, I will definitely kill you. Lu Ming shouted coldly. You're still daydreaming about killing me. Wan Xing ridiculed and was arrogant. He was not afraid at all. At this moment, divine light shot up into the sky from the City Lord's mansion, and a terrifying tremor came. They could see everything clearly. Not good. There's a huge battle at the City Lord's mansion. The demon masters' expressions changed drastically. Damn it, it's those foreign heavens favorites. These guys are definitely in cahoots. They're trying to split our strength. Dragon Cave shouted angrily. What? Lu Ming had also noticed the situation at the City Lord's residence and was rather surprised. He didn't expect that the foreign heavens favorites would attack the City Lord's mansion. It seems that the paragons from the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion didn't come to Demonic City just for Mo Yechuan. Lu Ming pondered. Attack with all your might and kill this brat. Well, go and support the City Lord's mansion. At this moment all evil roared. Alright, attack with all your might and kill him. Full force. The other 2 demon masters also nodded and gave the order. Immediately, the 3 great demon kings and 2,500 demon city guards madly circulated their divine power and blasted out their divine power as if it was free. Then a huge beam of light, like a huge divine sword, slashed at Lu Ming. The power of this divine sword had reached its peak. Lu Ming's pupils contracted sharply. He felt a fatal crisis. However, he, Qiu Yu, and the others were surrounded by the formation and had no way to escape. They could only fight. Block it, I must block it. Lu Ming growled in his heart and unleashed his full power. Roar! Roar! A dragon's roar was heard, and the 7 nine-clawed divine dragons rushed out first. Immediately after, 9 ice chains appeared. Boom! 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 The huge divine light formed a sword and slashed down. The 7 nine-clawed divine dragons exploded one by one. Then the 9 ice chains also exploded. However, this had more or less blocked some of the power of the combat sword. In the end, Lu Ming waved his long spear and blocked in front of him. Boom! Lu Ming's body trembled violently when the combat sword hit the long spear. He could not even stand in the air. His body, which was hundreds of meters tall, fell down to the fighting ring below. The fighting ring of the Colosseum was made of special materials and was extremely hard. Even the strong chi from the previous battle did not break the fighting ring. However, this time Lu Ming landed heavily on the fighting ring. The fighting ring rumbled violently and cracks appeared on it. Lu Ming's body bent and he almost knelt down. Block it! Lu Ming roared. He used all his divine power and divine Bodhi's power to resist the attack and did not kneel down. However, the huge sword had a steady stream of power that blasted down. Lu Ming's body trembled as if he was carrying a majestic divine mountain. This kid, Evil and the others felt their hearts twitch as they gasped. They had already used their strongest move and wanted to kill Lu Ming in one move. They did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to withstand it. Continue, kill him. 1,000 evils roared. Then, the 3 demon masters and more than 2,500 demonic city guards circulated their divine power madly. The divine power gathered and gushed toward the combat sword, pressing down on Lu Ming. Boom! The fighting ring under Lu Ming's feet exploded with a loud bang and fragments flew everywhere. Lu Ming's body bent slightly, but he roared and resisted it. More blood flowed out of the wounds on his body. Young Master, Lu Ming, Qiu Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were extremely anxious. They wanted to intervene, but with their cultivation they couldn't do much. I can't go on like this. If this continues, I won't be able to hold on any longer. Lu Ming's mind was racing. If this continued, the 4 of them would die here if he couldn't hold on any longer. In fact, the consequences would be worse than death. Right now, the only way is to break through. Lu Ming had an idea. Now there were only 2 ways. One of them was to burn his ancient god heart, and the other was to break through. However, after the ancient god's heart was burned, his ancient god body would be completely destroyed. The last time it was because of the purple copper coffin that his heart of the ancient god recovered. However, that kind of good luck couldn't be there every time. Moreover, Bone wasn't with him this time. If he took the risk to open the purple copper coffin, he wouldn't even know how he died. Therefore, Lu Ming would not use this method unless he had no other choice. The other way was to break through. For example, the battle symbol art had a breakthrough to 5 times the combat power. However, it was clear that the breakthrough of the battle character formula required comprehension and accumulation. It was not easy to break through. The only thing that could be broken through was cultivation. Old Liang, how much energy have you refined from the star's core? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to the quantity formula. I've given you all the energy I refined the last time. How much energy can I refine in such a short time? It's too little, not enough for you to break through. The quantity formula responded. Then transfer the energy of the star core to me directly. Lu Ming said. Directly transfer the energy of the star core to you? The energy of this kind of star core is extremely violent. Even a divine king would have to spend a lot of time to refine it before they can use it. You're just a heavenly god realm expert. If I give it to you, I'm afraid you'll die from overeating. The quantity formula said. There's no other way. We can only take a gamble now. Transfer energy to me, but control it well and not transfer too much. I can hold on. Lu Ming said to the measure word art with a determined look in his eyes. You're crazy, kid. Alright, let's go all out. I'll go all out with you. Kid, get ready. The quantity formula helplessly agreed. Come on. Lu Ming said. Buzz. The measure formula went berserk. A violent wave of energy rushed into Lu Ming's body from the measure formula. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2965 Breakthrough. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron. From the quantity formula, a surge of energy gushed into Lu Ming's body. This surge of energy was extremely violent. It was many times stronger than the energy from a volcanic eruption. It was hot, extremely hot. The searing energy was like a tsunami, crashing into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body trembled violently. He already had some injuries on his body. After being hit by this energy, his injuries were further aggravated. Get up there! Lu Ming roared loudly. He controlled the energy and directed it to flow along his arm and into the long spear. Buzz! The long spear vibrated, forming a rebound force that actually lifted the opponent's combat sword a little. Lu Ming took the opportunity to stand up straight. This kid, how can he still burst out with power? The people from the dragon cave were not only shocked, they were even a little frightened. Then he activated his divine power even more crazily. This time he had to kill Lu Ming. Otherwise, Magic City Mountain would be destroyed. Refine. At this moment, Lu Ming was circulating the universe thousand Tao scripture with all his might, refining the energy in his body. However, the energy of the star core had not been refined by the measure formula. It was very difficult to absorb it. Compared to the energy that had been refined, it was a world of difference. However, Lu Ming could not care about that now. He kept circulating his cultivation technique to absorb this energy and use it to break through to the next realm. Not only was the speed of absorption slow, but it was also impure. Even if Lu Ming had a breakthrough in his cultivation, his foundation would be unstable. But he couldn't care about that now. If his foundation was unstable, so be it. At most, he would spend more time to polish his foundation. Boom! 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 The violent energy was rampaging in Lu Ming's body. It was unusually overbearing. If it was an ordinary third-level heavenly deity, no, not to mention third-level heavenly deity, even if it was a ninth-level heavenly deity, the divine body would probably explode from this energy. However, Lu Ming's divine body was no ordinary divine body. After he had condensed the ancient god's heart, his divine body could be tempered at any time, and he would become stronger day by day. Moreover, he had transformed into a green-armored ancient god, and his divine body was even more powerful. He was able to block the energy. It's not enough. Old Liang, release more energy. Lu Ming roared. Also, little brat, you have to act within your means. The quantity formula expressed his concern. I know, come. Lu Ming said. That brat, get ready. As soon as he finished speaking, another wave of energy rushed out. This energy was even more violent and scorching than before. At this moment, Lu Ming's body turned red. Even the green armor on his skin turned fiery red. His body was like a balloon swelling up. The blood on the wound spurted out like it was free. Whoa, old Liang, you're spitting out too much energy. Are you trying to stuff me to death? Lu Ming screamed in pain. You were the one who asked for it. I've already reminded you, the quantity formula said. Lu Ming was helpless. He could only clench his teeth and circulate the universe thousand Tao scripture frantically to absorb this energy. Boom! 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 Lu Ming's body rumbled as if a volcano was constantly erupting. His cultivation level was also rising rapidly. Peak third-level celestial deity, then towards fourth-level celestial deity, it launched an assault. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming's body continued to rumble. With each rumble, Lu Ming's body trembled and more blood flowed out of his wounds. Lu Ming was bathed in blood and looked as if he would collapse at any moment. However, he managed to withstand the other party's attack. This kid is strange. Fight! Well, fight too. Die! Evil roared. He did not know why, but he had a bad feeling in his heart. He felt that if Lu Ming did not die today, he would be the one to die. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness as the Shun power in his body started to burn. All evil burned his divine power, and his strength increased dramatically. The power of the swords formed by the formation also increased. Lu Ming's body trembled and he almost failed to block it. You two. Burn your Shun power together and kill this kid. Evil looked at Dragon Cave and the other demon master. However, the Dragon Cave and the other demon master hesitated. Burning Shun power was very harmful to the body. Even if it was a normal person, burning Shun power would cause their vitality to be greatly damaged or their cultivation to fall. The half-step divine king realm was even more special. This realm was the realm of condensing the star core. The star core was about to be condensed but not condensed. It was the most critical moment. If he burned his divine power at this time, his cultivation would fall back to the 9th level heavenly god realm if he made a mistake. He might not even have the chance to charge towards the god king realm in the future. It wasn't easy to cultivate to this level, so they wouldn't easily burn it. This kid can't hold on for much longer. Let's hold on a little longer and we'll be the ones to win, Dragon Cave said. He refused to burn his Shun power. You guys, evildoer was helpless. He could only burn his divine power with all his might. He even threatened some of the Shanghai guards to burn their divine power to press down on Lu Ming. Soon. At this moment Lu Ming could already sense the 4th level celestial deity barrier, and was launching a violent attack. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times after more than a dozen attacks. Boom! A deafening explosion erupted from within Lu Ming's body. The 4th level celestial deity barrier was finally broken through by Lu Ming. Lu Ming had stepped into the 4th level heavenly god realm. After stepping into the 4th level heavenly god realm, the 10 divine flames in his dantian were even more vigorous. The divine power in his body was even more turbulent. Lu Ming's abilities had also improved. Break! Lu Ming roared. A violent force flowed along his arm and rushed out. Boom! The long spear vibrated crazily. In an instant it vibrated hundreds of millions of times. In an instant Lu Ming swept away the opponent's combat sword. Then he led Qiu Yu and the rest to take a step forward and avoid the opponent's attack. The battle sword formed by the opponent's formation continued to slash down after being knocked away. It hit the fighting ring and split it in half. 3 apocalyptic strikes, star explosion. Lu Ming took the opportunity to cast the strongest move of the 3 apocalyptic strikes, Star Blast. All the divine energy in his body, including the energy from the star core that had not been refined completely, flowed out through Lu Ming's arms. All of his power was transformed into his most powerful move, Star Blast. Whoosh! A shocking spear radiance soared into the sky and charged towards the formation that Evil and the others had formed. Kill! Evil and the others roared as they activated the formation. Divine power gathered and once again formed a combat sword, which was then slashed at Lu Ming. Boom! Exploding star collided with his opponent's combat sword, creating a terrifying explosion. The energy formed from the collision spread in all directions. This attack was truly like a battle between 2 god kings. The shockwave that spread in all directions crushed the corpses of the fallen experts in the Colosseum into dust. Everything within 100,000 miles was razed to the ground. This was also because Magic City had been set up with formations everywhere. Otherwise, the destructive power would have been countless times more terrifying. Explode! At this moment Lu Ming shouted coldly. The huge spear's gleam exploded. This was the correct way to activate the star explosion move. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2966 Backing. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. Boom! The spear radiance exploded like a planet, forming a terrifying energy storm that swept towards Evil and the others. Bang! The swords formed by Evil's formation trembled violently and buzzed before exploding into countless shockwaves that were reflected back at Evil, Dragon Cave, and the others. Boom! 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 This energy was too powerful. As it rushed out, a large number of Shanghai guards didn't even have time to react before their bodies exploded and their souls scattered. At least 300 demonic city guards had died under this move, and the entire formation had been scattered. As soon as the formation was opened, the power of the 3 great demon kings and the demon capital guards was scattered. Lu Ming would not miss such an opportunity. Bang! He stomped on the ground and his body, which was a few hundred meters tall, shot up. The divine power that had been stored in the quantity formula surged into Lu Ming's body and was drawn out along his arms. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long howl and swept out with his spear. The huge long spear was thousands of miles long, and it enveloped a large number of Shanghai guards. Bang! Bang! One by one the Shanghai guards exploded in the air like rotten tomatoes, blood splattering everywhere. This spear attack had killed at least 500 Magic City guards. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Dragon Cave and the other two demon masters roared in their hearts, unable to remain calm. At this moment, apart from all evil, the other two demon masters were filled with regret. If they had known that Lu Ming was so terrifying, they would have listened to all evil and burned their divine power to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. However, it was too late to regret now. Kill! Lu Ming fixed his eyes on the three demon masters. He thrust his long spear at the demon master of the Dragon Cave, who was the closest to him. The spear light was like a shooting star, instantly approaching the demon lord of the Dragon Cave. Not good. The demon lord of the Dragon Cave was shocked. He quickly waved his hands and used his strongest move to block. However, when Lu Ming was a third-tier celestial god, his strength was already enough to suppress a half-step divine king demon master. Now that he had broken through to the fourth-tier celestial god realm, his combat strength was even more overwhelming. Boom! The spear radiance pierced through the attack of the demon lord of the Dragon Cave and continued to stab toward him. The demon lord of the Dragon Cave was pierced by the spear light, leaving a bloody hole. The Dragon Cave's demon lord screamed as his body was sent flying. He had been severely injured. Die! Lu Ming did not give the demon lord of the Dragon Cave any chance. He stepped forward and aimed his long spear at the demon lord's head. The demon master of the Dragon Cave was already severely injured. How could he dodge? With a scream, his head was smashed by Lu Ming and he died on the spot. A demon master was killed just like that. In the surroundings, many of the demon city guards were almost scared to death. They didn't have the slightest bit of battle intent as they turned around and ran, not daring to stay in the slightest. Go quickly, go! Not to mention the demonic city guards. Even Wan Yi was extremely terrified. He brought Wan Xing and fled in a frenzy. The other demon master also fled in another direction. Don't even think about leaving. With a cold shout, a sword light rushed out of the gravel below and slashed at the escaping demon master. And I didn't expect that there would be such a heaven's favorite who was captured and brought to the spirit beast arena. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The one who made a move was a young man with peak 7th level celestial deity cultivation. But his combat strength was very shocking, and he actually held back that demon master. Such strength was already not weaker than Pei Lin. Obviously, for some unknown reason, this young man had also been captured by the other party and brought to the animal arena. Magic City Mountain was really audacious. They dared to do anything. They even dared to capture such a Heaven's Pride expert. Did they rely on their backer? Lu Ming's mind was racing, but his figure chased after evil at an extremely fast speed. He had to kill Wan Xing and Wan Yi, damn it, and envious die. All evil was alarmed and madly burned his divine power to fly forward. However, Lu Ming cast the 9 heavenly Kuan-Pong technique and it was as if he had transformed into a Kuan-Pong. His speed was even faster than evil's, and the distance between the two of them was rapidly closing. Whoosh! When he was within a certain distance, Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. A ray of spear light burst out and rushed towards All Evil at high speed. All Evil had no choice but to stop and turn around to block. Evil was burning his divine power and his combat strength was higher than usual. He blocked Lu Ming's attack, but his body was also pushed back. His face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Your Shin power should be almost burnt out. Lu Ming stepped forward and looked down on All Evil and All Good. Compared to Lu Ming's body that was a few hundred meters tall, All Evil and Wan Xing were like ants. Father, what should we do? What do we do? Wan Xing was almost scared to death. His entire body was trembling, and his face was extremely pale. He was used to being tyrannical in the Colosseum and even in the demon capital. Not many people dared to go against him because of his evil reputation. He had always had a high and mighty appearance. When had he ever faced such a situation? At this moment he was completely flustered and lost. Lu Ming, there's something that you probably don't know. My Magic City Mountain has a backer in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. He's a real big shot. If you kill us, the big shot of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion won't let you off. Evil said coldly. The backer behind Magic City Mountain? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. As long as he knew who the backer behind Magic City Mountain was, it was possible to find out who the traitor of 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion was. Tell me, who is the backer of your Magic City Mountain? Or which force is it? Lu Ming asked coldly. Do you want to know who our backer is? You just need to know that we have a backer behind us. A backer that you can't afford to offend. Otherwise, how could a treasure like the Demon Night Spring have survived until now? Evil sneered and threatened Lu Ming. You don't want to tell me? Then I'll search for it myself. Lu Ming was not afraid of threats. After he finished speaking, he waved his long spear and swept it towards Evil. All Evil was shocked. He did not expect that Lu Ming would not be threatened at all. He could only resist with all his might. However, he had been burning his divine power for so long and his divine power was severely depleted. He had only exchanged a few blows with Lu Ming before his divine power was completely depleted. Bang! Lu Ming's spear struck Evil's body. The lower half of Evil's body exploded, leaving only the upper half floating in the air. Its aura dispirited. Then Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed at the void. A suction force was produced and Wan Xing was caught in his hand. In Lu Ming's hands, Wan Xing was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. He could not put up any resistance and could only scream in pain. Don't kill me. Father, save me, save me. I don't want to die. Wan Xing's face was covered in snot and tears. He was so scared that he even peed himself. When he killed others, he didn't even blink. He was even very excited. When it was his turn, he was more afraid than anyone else. Don't kill him. 1,000 evils roared. Tell me who's the backer of Magic City Mountain, and I'll consider letting him go. Lu Ming said. Chapter 2967 9 Great Demon Kings. All annihilated. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. Lu Ming threatened all evil, wanting him to tell him who was the backer behind Magic City Mountain. I don't know who's the backer behind Magic City Mountain. I only know that there's a backer behind Magic City Mountain. 1,000 evils roared. You still dare to trick me? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He exerted force in his palm. Wan Xing screamed in pain as his body exploded continuously. I really don't know. I'm going to kill you. All evil roared angrily and mustered all its remaining strength to charge at Lu Ming. I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming said coldly. He exerted force in his palm and Wan Xing exploded completely. His soul scattered. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the moon-splitting move. A crescent-shaped spear ray flashed and disappeared. When the spear's radiance disappeared, all evil disappeared as well. Lu Ming did not show any mercy to people like Wan Xing who were evil. The father and son duo had committed all sorts of evil deeds. They controlled the Colosseum and committed all sorts of crimes. In all these years, countless people had died at their hands. Lu Ming did not search all evil's soul as there was no need to. He threatened him with Wan Xing. Since the other party said that he did not know, he should really not know. With a wave of his hand, he kept the loathsome storage ring. Then his figure flashed, and he returned to the Spirit Beast arena. At this moment, almost all the demonic city guards in the Colosseum had run away. Only that young man was still fighting with another demon master. Although the demon master had the upper hand, the young man was fighting with no regard for his life. He kept the demon master busy and didn't care even if he was injured. At that moment, the demon master was almost scared to death when he saw Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming charged over directly. With Lu Ming's participation, the demon master's fate was sealed. It did not take long for him to be killed by Lu Ming. This brother. Thank you for saving me this time. The young man cupped his fists at Lu Ming, his face full of gratitude. You're welcome, it was just a passing move. Lu Ming smiled. With a wave of his hand, he kept the demon master's storage ring. You're also a heaven's favorite from the outside world, right? I'm really curious, why are there so many people here this time? Lu Ming looked at the young man. What are you saying? We came to Magic City Mountain this time to complete a mission. The young man said. Mission? Lu Ming was stunned. This was indeed unexpected. Don't tell me you're here to complete the mission from the Star Sky Battalion? The Universal Camp is starting to recruit new students again? At this time Wu Zifeng suddenly spoke. Previously Lu Ming had brought Qiu Yu, Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong with him. The three of them were right beside him. You know. The young man was stunned and looked at Wu Zifeng. This one is Wu Zifeng. Wu Zifeng cupped his fists. So you're a disciple of the Wu family. No wonder. Yangshi. You're right, this is indeed a mission given to us by the Universal Camp. If you want to join the Universal Camp, you have to go through an assessment. This time, our assessment is to obtain the Demon Lord's token and the Demon King's token of the Demon Capital Mountain. Demon Capital Mountain's Demon Lord and Demon King. They all have a token that symbolizes their identity. Only by obtaining the Demon Capital Mountain's Demon Lord and Demon King token can one join the Universal Camp. The young man explained. The Universal Camp? Lu Ming was confused. Brother Lu, the Universal Camp is the gathering place for the paragons of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion's army. Almost all of the strongest paragons of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion are gathered in the Universal Camp. Wu Zifeng explained. Oh, I see. Is the cultivation environment in the Star Sky Camp that good? There are so many paragons in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, and they're all gathered there? Lu Ming was curious. The cultivation environment is one thing. The main thing is that only by joining the Universal Camp can one be recommended to cultivate in the core holy cultivation ground of the Great Void Holy Dynasty. If one wants to rise in the Great Void Holy Dynasty and take up a high position, this is something that cannot be avoided. Wu Zifeng explained. Lu Ming understood. This was a little like the imperial examination in the mortal world. One had to take one step at a time according to the rules and procedures before one could ascend to a high position. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the city lord's residence. He finally knew why these elites had suddenly attacked the city lord's mansion. It was because of the Demon Lord and Demon King tokens. This time Lu Ming made the first move. He was like a fuse that ignited the battle. In fact, even if he did not make a move, those prodigies would find an opportunity to make a move. You guys stay here or go take a look. After Lu Ming finished speaking, his body shrank and returned to his normal form. As his cultivation level increased, his divine body became stronger and stronger. The time he could take to transform into an ancient god body also became longer. This was the benefit of having abundant physical strength. Young master, be careful. Qiu Yu reminded. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled and flew in the direction of the city lord's residence. Qiu Yu and the others didn't follow, neither did Yangshi. He had been injured and needed time to heal. Very soon, Lu Ming arrived near the city master's residence. However, he didn't make a move. Instead, he found a hidden place nearby and hid. Then, he took out a divine pill and swallowed it. This kind of divine pill could recover one's strength. Moreover, Lu Ming was injured previously and needed time to recuperate. There might be a huge battle to fight later on. This matter was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. In this case, it was almost impossible to protect Magic City Mountain and it would be destroyed. If Lu Ming wanted to find out which force the Dark Ice Race and the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion were colluding with, he could only rely on the Dark Night Devil King. Lu Ming was waiting for the Night Demon King to appear. In the sky above the City Lord's mansion, the battle was unusually brutal. Demonic city guards were constantly killed, and their corpses fell to the ground. The City Lord's mansion was covered with the corpses of the Shanghai guards. The remaining 4 demon masters were also suppressed by the 4 9th-level celestial deities, and were in a precarious situation. I'll fight it out with you guys, die. A demon master roared angrily. The divine power in his body started to burn as he fought fiercely with the 9th-level celestial deity. At the same time, the other 3 demon masters also gritted their teeth and burned their divine power to charge forward with all their might, trying to escape. You want to escape? Dream on. The 4 9th-level heavenly deity Heaven's favorites shouted coldly. They didn't seek to gain any merits, but they wanted to avoid any mistakes. They changed their strategy and only held the other party back tightly, no longer taking the initiative to attack. There was a time limit to burning Shen power. Soon their Shen power would be used up and they would be at their mercy. Sure enough, not long after, the auras of the 4 demon masters rapidly declined. Buzz! The sound of the sword was deafening. The black-robed young man slashed his sword across the sky and killed a demon master. Die! The young man who was covered in golden light killed a demon master with one palm. Wu Shui's senior brother, the blood-robed young man, had also killed a demon master. Demon King, Demon King. The last demon master roared madly, his face full of unwillingness. However, before he could finish his words, he was also killed. At this point, the 9 great demon masters of Demonic City were all exterminated. Chapter 2968 Night Demon Lord appears. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. After the 4 paragons killed the Demon Lord, they looked into the depths of the City Lord's mansion. Boom! At this moment, a vast aura burst out from the depths of the City Lord's mansion. Then a figure stepped out and stood in the sky. This person was the Night Demon King. Night Demon King, you finally appeared. Wu Shui's senior, the blood-robed youth, said coldly. Why? Why do you want to kill us? The Night Demon Lord's face was filled with malevolence. Why are there so many whys? Do I need a reason to destroy a small mountain like yours? The young man who was covered in golden demonic light was very overbearing. Ha ha, I don't need a reason. Indeed. The Night Demon King laughed and his eyes became more ferocious. He stared at the 4 heaven's favorites and sneered. You may be talented, but you're only heavenly gods. Do you think you can fight me? Also, you just had a great battle, so you must have used up a lot of your divine power. The Night Demon Lord sneered. So the reason you didn't come out just now was to waste our Shin power. What a cruel method. The black-robed youth said. It was obvious that the Night Devil King had long known about the battle outside, but no matter how the demon masters shouted, the Night Devil King did not appear. He was planning to let the demon masters consume the divine power of these geniuses. The more he consumed, the more confident he was. Those trash, they died a worthy death for me. But you, so many heaven's favorites. Today, I can kill so many heaven's favorites with my own hands. It's not a waste to come to this world. Ha ha ha. The Night Demon Lord sneered, and his aura became even more violent. Boom! He suddenly struck out with his palm. This palm was aimed directly at the heaven's favorite who was covered in golden light. Boom! And NBSP, the youth covered in golden light, was constantly paying attention to the Night Demon King. As soon as the Night Demon King attacked, he attacked as well, a giant golden palm print blasting forward. The 2 palm prints clashed in the air. Boom! The air exploded and the force spread in all directions. Then the golden palm print crumbled. The young man, who was covered in golden light, retreated and spat out a mouthful of blood. There's an unbridgeable gap between the heavenly God realm and the divine king realm. Today, I'll let you all know that the gap between the heavenly God realm and the divine king realm can't be made up by talent alone. An NBS Padai. The Night Demon King roared, his entire body radiating dazzling light like a burning star, his divine power thick to the extreme. At the divine king realm, a condensed star core was simply too powerful. Even the weakest divine king was many times stronger than a heavenly god. Boom! The Night Demon King moved again, continuing to attack the young man who was covered in golden light. King's Pagoda. At this moment, the young man who was covered in golden light let out a long roar. His glabella shone, and a small pagoda flew out. The small pagoda turned golden, and after it flew out, it rapidly grew in size, becoming the size of a mountain. Buzz! And NBSP, the small tower trembled, and a mysterious energy spread out, enveloping the Night Demon King. The Night Demon Lord's aura trembled, as if it was unstable. Damn it, a treasure that is specially used to deal with god kings. The Night Demon Lord roared. This kind of treasure was not a divine artifact but a secret treasure that had been refined through special means. This kind of secret treasure was specially used to deal with god kings. It produced a special fluctuation that could affect the core of a god king's star. With an unstable star core, one's strength would naturally be greatly reduced. Of course, the higher one's cultivation was, the smaller the impact would be. However, to a one-stage god king like the Night Demon King, the impact was still huge. If talent can't make up for it, what about treasures? An NBS Padai. The golden youth laughed coldly, his aura erupting as he charged at the Dark Knight God King. Boom! The 2 of them exchanged another blow. This time, it was still the young man covered in golden light who retreated. You want to use a single treasure to deal with me? Dream on. An NBS Padai. The Night Demon King roared and madly activated his divine power, trying to rush out of the King Suppression Tower's range. Who said there's only one treasure? The king-destroying bell. Wu Shui's senior brother waved his hand, and a large green bell flew out. Clang! Clang! The bell vibrated, creating sound waves that rushed toward the Night Demon King. The aura on the Night Demon Lord's body trembled again, becoming unstable. Ju King's sword. The black-robed young man shouted coldly. With a wave of his hand, a combat sword flew out. Endless sword chi rushed toward the Night Demon King. Three treasures that were specially used to deal with God Kings. This time, Night Demon Lord's expression really changed, becoming extremely ugly. Under the suppression of the three treasures, he could feel the star core in his body trembling non-stop as if it was being suppressed. No matter how hard he tried to operate it, he could not exert all his strength. Humph, Night Demon King, today is the day you die. He. Wu Shui's senior brother sneered. His body flashed and he charged toward the Night Demon King. At the same time, the other three 9th-level celestial deity prodigies also charged towards the Night Demon King. You want to kill me? Dream on. An NBS Padai. The Night Demon King roared. He wouldn't let himself be captured without a fight, so he used all his strength to resist. Boom! 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 And NBSP, the four heavens favorites and the Night Demon King were engaged in an intense battle. The City Lord Mansion was in an uproar, and all sorts of divine light flew around. In the surroundings, the battle between the other heavens favorites and the Shanghai guards had already stopped. The remaining Shanghai guards who had not died had long since escaped. The elites didn't pursue. Their targets were the 9 demon masters and the Night Demon King. Killing the demonic city guards was useless. During this process, Lu Ming did not make a move. How could he stupidly rush out when it was such a good opportunity to sit on the mountain and watch the tiger's head and reap the benefits? He focused on recovering and healing his injuries. The wounds on his body had basically healed, and his physical strength had also recovered by 60 to 70%. He was waiting for an opportunity to strike. Let's attack too. On the side, Pei Lin, Wu Shui, and a few other stronger heavens favorites also joined the battle. Under the influence of the heirloom, their strength was enough to pose a threat to the Night Demon Lord. In the blink of an eye, the two sides had been fighting for a few minutes. Night Demon King was gradually losing and was at a disadvantage. A sword light flashed, and a sword wound appeared on the Night Demon King's body, blood flowing out. Bang! Then the young man covered in golden light hit the Night Demon King with his palm, making the Night Demon King stagger and retreat. Blood oozed from the corner of his mouth. Seeing that the Night Demon Lord was injured, the Paragons were even more excited. They used all kinds of techniques, divine skills, and secret skills, which broadened Lu Ming's horizons. Lu Ming realized that the secret skills controlled by the Paragons of the 9 Ultimate Heavenly King Mansion were shockingly powerful. Some of them were even close to his Divine Dragon Materialization technique. Of course, this was because Lu Ming had not cultivated the Divine Dragon Materialization technique to major success. He had obtained the Divine Dragon Materialization art from a legacy site. The more he cultivated, the more unfathomable he felt. If he could cultivate hundreds or thousands of divine dragons in the future, Lu Ming was looking forward to the power. Chapter 2979, Killing the Demon King. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. The Night Demon Lord roared again and again, trying its best to resist. The two sides exchanged another 100 moves. More and more wounds appeared on the Night Demon King's body. With the defense and vitality of a King God Realm warrior, he could resist the attack for now. However, if this continued, he would be exhausted to death sooner or later. He was really aggrieved. He had the strength but he couldn't use it. The Dark Night Demon King crazily activated his star core. But the 3 secret treasures emitted strange fluctuations and confined his star core. He tried his best but he could only exert 50 to 60% of its power. A sword light slashed at Night Demon King's neck. He dodged quickly, but it still left a sword wound on his cheek. Damn it! And NBSP, the Night Demon King roared. He had been continuously injured and had gone crazy. His eyes were filled with savagery. If you want me to die, then we'll die together. It's worth it to drag you Heaven's Pride experts down with me. An NBS Padai. The Night Demon King roared, and his aura suddenly became violent. Then a ball of light shot out from his dantian. This ball of light was dazzling and the starlight was resplendent. Then, a crystal the size of a dragon's eye appeared. As soon as the crystal appeared, it emitted a terrifying fluctuation. It's a star core! A young man exclaimed. In the distance, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He could recognize that the crystal was the star core. It was the star core condensed by the Night Demon Lord when he broke through to the Divine King realm. It was different from the star core that Lu Ming had. The star core that Lu Ming had obtained was many times stronger than this one in terms of size, mass, and energy fluctuations. Although it couldn't be compared to a star core, the fluctuations emitted by the star core were extremely terrifying. Buzz! As soon as the star core appeared, it began to shake slightly. Then, a terrifying energy fluctuation spread out from the star core, as if it was going to break through the suppression of the 3 secret treasures. Not good. He's going to self-destruct his star core. Quickly retreat. A few of the young Heaven's favorites looked terrified as they retreated frantically. Go to hell. And Enbiaspi the Night Demon King roared with a malevolent expression. After his roar, the star core cracked and split into 2. Half of it flew into the Night Demon King's dantian, while the other half exploded with a boom. The Night Demon King didn't really want to completely self-destruct his star core. He actually split it into half, only half. This way, he could at least preserve some of his cultivation. The self-destruction of a star core, even if it was only half of it, would still be terrifyingly powerful. It was as if a planet had exploded. A mushroom cloud rose, and the terrifying energy spread in all directions. The first to bear the brunt were the 3 secret treasures. An NBSP Wang Wang Wang. The 3 secret treasures started to shake violently. Then cracks appeared on them. Following that, more and more cracks appeared before they exploded. The 3 secret treasures exploded one after another, and the fluctuations disappeared. The remaining energy made the Heaven's favorites spit out blood. Fortunately, they had reacted early and retreated early. Furthermore, the Night Demon King had only self-destructed half of his star core. Although they were injured, they were not seriously injured. The Night Demon Lord himself also vomited blood. He had self-destructed half of his star core, and he had also suffered heavy injuries, greatly damaging his vitality. And NBSP at this moment the Night Demon King couldn't care about his injuries anymore. He ran for his life and randomly chose a direction. This direction happened to be where Lu Ming was hiding. Chase! The Heaven's favorites let out a sigh of relief and started to chase after the Night Demon King. Buzz! The Night Demon Lord was very fast. Very soon, he was not far from Lu Ming. He really delivered himself to my door. Lu Ming pursed his lips and took out a long spear. With a flick of his hand, the long spear flew out like lightning and headed straight for the face of the Night Demon Lord. The Night Demon King was shocked and waved his hand to slap the spear away, but he also stopped. At this moment, Lu Ming had already rushed out. Buzz! Lu Ming soared into the sky and charged toward the Night Demon Lord. As he rushed out, his body swelled rapidly and he turned into a green-armored ancient god that was hundreds of meters tall. Before he even arrived, the 9 ice chains had already rushed out. It's you, Lu Ming. Get lost. When the Night Demon Lord saw Lu Ming, he roared and struck out with his palm. The palm force that could topple mountains and overturn the seas broke the 9 ice chains. However, Lu Ming's follow-up attack had arrived. Moon Slaying. Lu Ming held the spear with both hands and struck down. The huge spear's gleam pressed down on the Night Demon Lord. Boom! The spear radiance collided with the Night Demon King's attack. The Night Demon King's body trembled, and his palm almost exploded. Blood spurted out of his mouth. The Night Demon Lord had self-destructed half of his star core, and suffered a great loss of vitality. He had less than 10% of his strength left. As for Lu Ming, after he reached the 4th level celestial deity realm, his combat strength had already completely surpassed the current Night Demon Lord. As soon as the two of them exchanged blows, Night Demon King was severely injured. Die! Starburst! Lu Ming took the opportunity to use his strongest move. A spear light suddenly burst out and stabbed toward Night Demon King. An NBSP die. Night Demon King roared and used all his strength to block, but the spear light exploded like a star core. An NBSP arc. The Night Demon King screamed as it was blown to pieces by this energy. Only a bit of its soul was left, and it wanted to escape. However, Lu Ming grabbed with his hand and a 9-clawed divine dragon flew out. It opened its mouth wide and swallowed the Night Demon Lord's soul into the air. Arg! With a shrill and unwilling scream, the Night Demon King's soul was completely destroyed. The Demon King of a generation was dead. Then Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the Night Demon Lord's storage ring. Lu Ming had just put away the storage ring when Wu Shui's senior brother, the young man who was covered in golden light, and the others arrived and appeared in front of Lu Ming. "Kid, it's you." The witch's blood roared ferociously. "It was me." Lu Ming smiled faintly. "Kid, hand over the Night Demon King's storage ring and it'll give you a quick death." Wu Shui's senior brother, the blood-robed young man, said coldly. He did not conceal the killing intent on his body at all. "Give me a quick death? Just you?" Lu Ming was disdainful. "Humph, kid, don't think that you're so great just because you won first place in the great battle in Shanghai. At that time, it was inconvenient for us to participate in the battle to avoid alerting the enemy. Otherwise, who do you think you are?" The blood-robed young man sneered. He suddenly took a step forward and rushed toward Lu Ming. A huge blood-red palm grabbed at Lu Ming. "Get lost!" Lu Ming shouted and swept his long spear out. Boom! The blood-colored palm collapsed, and the blood-robed young man retreated. Your strength?" The blood-robed young man looked at Lu Ming in shock. He was no match for Lu Ming at all. Back then, although Lu Ming was powerful and could defeat Pei Lin, he still thought that he could defeat Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's strength had completely surpassed his. Chapter 2970 Universal Camp. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. You want to kill me with your strength? You're the one who will die today. Lu Ming sneered and charged at the blood-robed young man with his spear. However, at this moment the other young heaven's favorites made their move. All sorts of attacks were directed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He shook his long spear and shot out more than a dozen spearlights at the paragons. However, Lu Ming had now broken through to the 4th-level celestial deity realm, and his strength was at its peak. As for the blood-robed youth and the rest, they had suffered some injuries from the Night Demon King's self-destruction of half of its star core. Therefore, even if they joined forces, they were not Lu Ming's match. The spear radiance was dazzling and sharp. It pierced through the attacks of the blood-robed youth and the others. The blood-robed youth and the others trembled and retreated. "You want to kill me with your strength?" A mocking voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. He held his spear and charged forward. The long spear shook and a huge spear ray swept out. The blood-robed young man and the others looked ghastly. They shouted angrily and each of them used their unique skills. However, they were not Lu Ming's match and were forced to retreat. Damn it! How can this kid's strength be so shocking? The blood-robed youth and the others roared in their hearts. They were the proud children of heaven from the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion, but they had never seen Lu Ming before. Where did Lu Ming come from? Bang! Lu Ming continued to step forward with a violent aura. The expressions of the blood-robed youth and company changed again, and they couldn't help but retreat. Lu Ming advanced while they retreated. They no longer had the courage to fight. In their current situation, even if they fought again, they would still be defeated. Retreat! In the end, the blood-robed young man and the rest were unwilling to give up. They used their movement techniques and drifted backward, distancing themselves from Lu Ming. "Cowards, you still want my storage ring? Get lost!" Lu Ming shouted coldly. The blood-robed youth's expression was extremely unsightly. "Brat, I'll remember what happened today." The blood-robed young man left these words coldly and left in a flash. The other young geniuses also cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. They had no choice but to leave. Not long after, all the heaven's favorites here had left. "Let's search this place," Lu Ming said to Qiu Yu and the rest as his body shrunk. After that, they rushed into the city lord's mansion and started searching to see if they could find any clues. Originally, the majestic and grand city lord's mansion had already collapsed. It was in shambles and there was not a single person. Lu Ming and the rest were shuttling back and forth in the dilapidated city lord's mansion to see if they could find any clues about the dark ice race and the 9 absolute heavenly kings' mansion. They didn't notice that a person had appeared not far from the city lord's mansion. This person was the daughter of the Night Devil King, Night Rose. In the previous battle, Night Rose had not appeared. Night Rose looked at Lu Ming and the rest who were in the distance. Her eyes were filled with hatred, greed, and other complicated emotions. Lu Ming, sooner or later I will swallow you. A cold sneer came out of Night Rose's mouth. With an evil light in her eyes, she disappeared in a flash. Just as the Night Rose disappeared, 2 black shadows appeared out of thin air. These 2 black figures were wrapped in black robes, and their faces could not be seen clearly. Only a pair of cold eyes could be seen under the black robes. What do we do? The Dark Knight storage ring is in that kid's hands. One of them said. With our strength we're not this kid's match at all. The other person said. However, the Night Demon King's storage ring must not fall into the hands of outsiders. We must get it. The first person said. The plan now is to secretly keep an eye on them, then send back a message and ask the master to send experts to kill them. The person behind said. All right, that's the only way. The first person said. After he finished speaking, the 2 of them disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming and the others were completely unaware that they were being watched. They had searched the City Lord mansion several times and found many treasures. However, they did not find any clues about the Dark Ice Race colluding with the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, or the treasures of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. I wonder if there are any clues in the Night Demon Lord's storage ring? Lu Ming pondered in his heart. After searching for 2 more rounds, there were still no clues. Lu Ming, Qiu Yu and the rest left the place. Not long after they found a hidden place. Lu Ming took out the Night Demon Lord's storage ring and checked it. Lu Ming was stunned when he took a look. And NBSP, the Night Demon King, controlled Mo Yechuan and had accumulated a lot of wealth over the years. In the storage ring there were all kinds of precious divine pills, divine medicines and divine materials. There were also divine weapons of all levels, and there were even a few supreme-grade divine weapons. As for divine crystals, there were countless of them. In addition, Lu Ming also found a divine-grade wondrous technique. This divine-grade technique could be cultivated to divine-grade divine power when cultivated to its peak. However, the Night Demon King clearly had not cultivated to the highest realm, or his strength would be even stronger. Lu Ming smiled. Of course he had to cultivate this divine art. In addition, Lu Ming also discovered a large number of demon night springs. It weighed more than 500 jin. Good lord, I guess all the demon night spring in the entire demon capital mountain is here. No wonder I couldn't find it before. Lu Ming muttered. Then he took out 20 caddies of demon night spring and gave them to Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng, giving them 10 caddies each. 5 kilograms of demon night spring was enough for them to use for a long time. The 2 of them were naturally ecstatic as they kept it. Lu Ming did not give it to Qiu Yu. He would give her however much she wanted to use. There was no need to give it to her on purpose. To Lu Ming's disappointment, he did not find any clues about the treasures of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion in the Night Demon King's storage ring. Did the Night Demon King not leave any clues? At the thought of this, Lu Ming was a little disappointed. Then he checked the storage rings of the Demon Masters, but did not find any clues. However, a few tokens appeared in his hand. A total of 4 pieces. A Demon King token and 3 Demon Master tokens were indeed what Wu Shui and the others had come here for. The Demon King's token, the Demon Master's token. As long as you have this, you can join the Universal Camp. Wu Zifeng's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of fiery light. Did we just come out of nowhere? You can also join the Universal Camp? Lu Ming asked curiously. Yes, as long as one's age doesn't exceed the limit and their cultivation is above Heavenly God. As long as they have the Demon King and Demon King's token, they can enter the Universal Camp, Wu Zifeng said. After that, Wu Zifeng muttered to himself for a moment and then continued, Brother Lu, if you want to investigate the treasure of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, why don't you join the Universal Camp first? After all, the Universal Camp and the guards of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion are very close. You might be able to get some clues. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Spectacular. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Alright, then he'll join the Universal Camp first. Lu Ming nodded and made his decision. Originally, the purpose of his trip was to go to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. He came to Magic City Mountain only to check it out first. If he didn't find any clues, he would go to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion to investigate. Alright, let's go, Wu Zifeng said. Immediately, the four of them left Magic City Mountain. After a long journey, they arrived at the core of Chutian Star Field. Then, they took the Interstar Field teleportation formation and headed towards the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Chutian Star Field was still a long distance away from the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Even if they were to travel in a straight line, they were still more than 10 star fields away. How long was this distance? They used nearly a year just to travel. Finally, they arrived at the territory near the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Then, they boarded the Starry Sky battleship and flew towards the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Gradually, a huge galaxy appeared in front of Lu Ming and the rest in the universe. This is... Looking at the galaxy, Lu Ming and Qiu Yu were stunned. This galaxy actually had 3 stars. Most galaxies were fixed stars. With a star as the core, the other planets would rotate around the star and form a solar system. However, this galaxy had 3 stars. Huge planets were revolving around the 3 stars in a strange orbit. Lu Ming took a glance. There were at least 30 planets revolving around the 3 stars. As the distance between them shortened, a scene that shocked Lu Ming even more appeared. At the periphery of the entire galaxy, the planets were shining with all kinds of light. At the same time, there were many huge objects patrolling around the galaxy. These huge objects gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong's faces were calm, clearly already used to it. These huge objects are all war machines. They are extremely terrifying and can monitor the space around this galaxy. Once they discover an enemy invasion, they will launch a thunderous counterattack. It is said that even peak Divine King existences will be killed. Wu Zifeng explained. Lu Ming gasped in shock. To be able to kill a peak God King, this level of power was truly shocking. Any one of them would be able to crush the Qin Heaven Starfield. Let's go in. Well, go to that planet first. Wu Zifeng pointed to a fiery red planet at the outermost part of the galaxy. Lu Ming steered the Starry Sky warship and flew towards the fiery red planet. Who is it? With a cold shout, a team of strong men in fiery red armor appeared on the periphery of the planet, blocking Lu Ming and the rest's path. The aura that he exuded made Lu Ming and the rest fearful. Divine King. There are Divine King realm existences among them. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. There were 12 men in this group. Lu Ming could sense that at least 3 of them were at the Divine King realm. The other 9 were probably at the peak of the Heavenly God realm. As expected of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Manor, they were only the guards at the outermost perimeter. There were many God Kings that appeared casually. Their strength was truly unfathomable. I'm Wu Zifeng, a disciple of the Wu family. These are my friends. Wu Zifeng flew out of the Starry Sky warship and took out an identity token. They're indeed the Wu family's disciples. Where are they? Have they ever been to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion before? If they haven't, you have to leave behind their life aura, a Divine King man said. Yes. Wu Zifeng nodded. On the way, Wu Zifeng had explained the procedure to enter the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Lu Ming was not surprised. He went forward with Qiu Yu and left their life aura on an array disk. After leaving behind their life aura, the strong men in fiery red armor did not stop them and let Lu Ming and the rest enter the planet. After entering the planet, they followed the other direction of the planet and flew towards the core of the galaxy. If one did not pass through this planet and barged in directly from another space in the galaxy, they would be attacked by the war machines. Unless one's cultivation surpassed the God King realm, one would not be able to survive. He flew straight to the core of the star. Not long after, A huge planet appeared in front of him. This planet was the largest in this galaxy. Even from far away, one could feel the surging energy from this planet. There was a halo around each planet. From afar, it was very beautiful. At the same time, Lu Ming could sense that energy was constantly being absorbed by this planet from all directions, even from the universe and the starry sky, and was gathering on this planet. There's a large formation on this planet that can absorb energy from the outside world. Lu Ming muttered. That's right. This planet does have a large array that constantly absorbs the energy of the universe and gathers it on the planet, making the divine qi on the planet extremely rich. Wu Zifeng explained and then smiled. This is the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. We've arrived. This is the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion? The entire planet? Lu Ming was surprised. That's right. The entire planet is the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. That's right. Wu Zifeng nodded and explained. The entire planet is covered by a peerless formation. It's like a huge mansion or a city. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu were shocked. This was really a big deal. As the distance between them shortened, Lu Ming finally realized that the entire planet was covered by a huge light shield. However, in different directions of the planet, the light shield would open up a gap like a door. Wu Zifeng told him that there were a total of 8 openings on the entire planet, which were 8 gates distributed in 8 directions of the planet. Each gate was guarded by a large number of experts. With such tight defense, there's actually still someone who can steal a precious treasure from the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Manor. Lu Ming sneered. At this point, Lu Ming understood even more. If there was no one in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion cooperating, it was impossible for outsiders to steal the treasure. There was definitely someone working with them. They flew towards the nearest gate. There were a large number of experts guarding the gate. They were all wearing battle armor and had a shocking aura. God King, they're all God Kings. Lu Ming could sense a terrifying aura from these people. It was the aura of a God King. These guards were actually all God Kings. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu left behind a trace of life aura here before they were able to enter the door. As soon as he entered the door, Lu Ming felt a strong divine aura blowing in his face. What a dense divine qi! Lu Ming took a deep breath, feeling refreshed. Cultivating here would definitely be much faster than cultivating outside. Let's go. I'll bring you to the Wu clan's residence, Wu Zifeng said and flew forward first. Lu Ming and the few of them followed. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chocho Awakens. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. This planet was the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Therefore, there were no cities on this planet. In the vast territory, all kinds of buildings could be built wherever one wanted and they could cultivate. Lu Ming and the rest were flying at a high altitude. They looked up and realized that the entire planet had mountains, lakes, and rivers. There was everything one could think of. Moreover, there were various buildings in between the mountains, lakes, and rivers. The Wu family's headquarters is on this planet? Lu Ming asked curiously. You can say that, but it's not very accurate. Actually, in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, there are many large aristocratic families with long inheritances, such as our Wu family and the Qin family where Qin Wuyo and the others were born. These big aristocratic families all have powerhouses holding positions in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Therefore, their headquarters are all set up on this planet. However, most of the ancestral lands of the macro worlds are not here. They are scattered in different star fields, which are the foundations of the big families. For example, although the Wu family's headquarters is here, our ancestral land is in another star area, where most of the Wu family's powerhouses are gathered. Lu Ming nodded and roughly understood. Not long after, an endless mountain range appeared before their eyes. There were countless buildings built on these mountains, and one could not see the end of them. This was the Wu family's headquarters in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Let's go, you guys can stay at the Wu residence for now, Wu Zifeng said. Everyone flew forward. Third young master. Greetings, third young master. On the way, many people saluted Wu Zifeng. Although Wu Zifeng's cultivation was not very high, he was the son of the current Wu family's patriarch, so his status was very high. After entering the Wu family, Wu Zifeng arranged a courtyard for Lu Ming and Qiu Yu to stay in. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Qiu Yu had been at the Wu family for 3 days. On this day, Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong went to look for Lu Ming. "Brother Lu, I have a favor to ask of you," Wu Zifeng said. "Brother Wu, if you have something to say, just say it." Lu Ming smiled. "Brother Lu, are you selling that Demon Master token?" Wu Zifeng said. "Demon Master token? Why? You need it? If you need it, just take it. Qiu Yu and I only need 2. Lu Ming said. He had 3 Demon Master tokens and 1 Demon King token on him. 2 were enough for him and Qiu Yu to enter the universal camp, and the 2 extra were useless. He had originally wanted to give it to Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong, but their cultivation had not reached the heavenly god realm, so they could not use it. It's like this: I have 2 cousins who also participated in this time's universal camp assessment. However, their luck was rather bad and they didn't manage to complete the assessment. Hence, they would like to purchase 2 Demon Lord tokens from you, Wu Zifeng said. The Wu family also participated in the Universal Camp's assessment? Why didn't I see him on Mount Shanghai? Lu Ming asked curiously. The Magic City Mountain assessment is just one of the assessments in the Universal Camp. In fact, there are many geniuses who want to join the Universal Camp each time. The assessment is also divided into many categories, and they are all randomly selected. Some people will get this kind of assessment while others will get that kind of assessment. Those who head to Magic City Mountain are only a small portion of the assessment in the Universal Camp, Wu Zifeng explained. Lu Ming had a sudden realization. So that was the case. It seemed that Wu Zifeng's 2 cousins had taken part in other assessments and did not complete them. It doesn't matter, having an extra Demon Master token is useless. If your cousin needs it, then just give it to them. Lu Ming said. Then I'll thank you in advance. I'll call my 2 cousins over. Wu Zifeng was overjoyed and left Lu Ming's courtyard. Not long after, Wu Zifeng came with 2 young men. The 2 young men looked like they were in their 20s. They were tall, burly, and handsome. Wu Ming. Wu Yu. Greetings, Brother Lu. The 2 young men cupped their fists at Lu Ming. You're too polite, brother. There's no need to be so polite. I heard that you 2 brothers need Demon Master tokens, so I have 2 extra here. Here. 2 Demon Master tokens appeared in Lu Ming's hands. With a wave of his hand, they flew toward Wu Ming and Wu Yu. Wu Ming and Wu Yu reached out to receive it and revealed a look of great joy. Brother Lu, how many divine crystals does the Demon Master token cost? Well, buy it, Wu Ming said. Since you are Zifeng's brothers, you are also my brothers. We are all brothers, so there is no need to be so polite. I have no use for these 2 Demon Master tokens. You can just take them. There is no need to buy them, Lu Ming said with a smile. Then this, how can we do that? Wu Yu hesitated. Brother Wu, unless you look down on me and are unwilling to be friends with me, Lu Ming deliberately sighed. Brother Lu, you've misunderstood us. We've heard from Zifeng that you're an unparalleled heaven's favorite. We've wanted to be friends with you for a long time. How could we look down on you? That's right. In that case, we'll take this Demon Master token. Wu Ming and Wu Yu quickly said. My 2 brothers Wu, when do you plan to go to the Universal Camp? Lu Ming changed the topic and asked. There's still 7 more days before we report to the Star Sky Camp. How about we go together then? Wu Ming said. Just what I wanted. Lu Ming smiled. They were all young people and got to know each other very quickly. They took out some fine wine and chatted as they drank. Lu Ming had a better understanding of the situation in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. After 3 rounds of wine, Wu Zifeng and the others took their leave. For the next few days, Lu Ming and Qiu Yu stayed at the Wu residence. They did not know that 2 black-robed men were pacing back and forth in the distance. What do we do? They've entered the Wu residence. The Wu family was extremely powerful. Since Lu Ming and the rest had entered the Wu family, they could do nothing about it. They can't possibly stay in the Wu family forever. They've obtained the Devil King and Devil Lord's tokens, so they'll most likely join the Universal Camp. We'll make the necessary preparations on the way to the Universal Camp and kill them in one fell swoop, the other black-robed man said coldly. The 2 of them observed for a while more before they left in a flash. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Lu Ming was cultivating that day. These days, He had been cultivating the saint-grade divine skill that he had obtained from the Night Demon King. The last time on Magic City Mountain, Lu Ming had forcefully tried to break through to the 4th-level celestial deity realm, causing his foundation to be unstable. In the following period of time, it would be impossible for Lu Ming to break through. He could only polish his foundation first. Only when his foundation was stable could he continue to break through to the next realm. While he was polishing his foundation, Lu Ming could cultivate his new divine technique. At this moment, Lu Ming's wrist emitted a series of wonderful fluctuations. This fluctuation came from Qiu. Qiu had turned into a bangle and was wearing it on Lu Ming's wrist. It had been in deep sleep for hundreds of years and there was no movement. Now there was finally movement. Lu Ming was overjoyed. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2974 Qiu has become a god king. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. Lu Ming revealed a look of joy. Qiu, who had not moved for hundreds of years, finally moved. He knew that Qiu had most likely refined the bronze it had devoured in the ancient god's world. After refining for a few hundred years, what realm could Qiu's cultivation reach? Lu Ming was filled with anticipation. At this moment, the bangle that Qiu had transformed into glowed and flew out, turning into a round metal ball that emitted powerful fluctuations. Qiu was also startled. She came out of the room and looked at Qiu curiously. "Young master, what's wrong?" Qiu asked. Qiu is about to evolve. What a strong fluctuation. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. The radiance emitted from Qiu's body became more and more intense, and the energy fluctuations that permeated the air also became stronger and stronger. "Let's go, we'll leave this place first," Lu Ming said. Then he waved his hand and kept Qiu into a storage ring. He rose into the sky with Qiu and flew out of the Wu family. Lu Ming was a guest brought back by the Wu family's third young master, Wu Zifeng. Naturally, no one stopped him. Lu Ming left the Wu family's residence smoothly. He sped up and found a remote place with no one around and let Qiu out. Boom! After Qiu was released, it exploded with a huge wave of energy. At the same time, boundless divine qi in the world gathered towards Qiu. Fortunately, this was the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. The divine qi here was extremely dense, even denser than low-grade divine crystals. It was endless. A large amount of divine qi was absorbed by Qiu, and the aura that Qiu emitted rose at an astonishing speed. 3rd level heavenly deity, 4th level heavenly deity, 5th level heavenly deity. Very soon, he reached 9th level celestial deity. Lu Ming and Qiu were both dumbfounded. They were shocked by the speed of improvement. This speed of improvement was even faster than a rocket. However, it did not stop when it reached the 9th level celestial deity. It continued to improve. In the next moment, the aura Qiu emitted skyrocketed once again, breaking through the 9th level celestial deity realm and reaching the half-step divine king realm. However, this was still not the limit. He was still improving. Could it be that I can reach the divine king realm? Lu Ming was shocked and full of anticipation. After sleeping for a few hundred years, he was able to break through to the divine king realm from the 1st level heavenly god realm in a single day. This speed would probably scare people to death if it was spread out. However, Qiu had refined that mysterious bronze, so anything was possible. Qiu's body glowed with a resplendent bronze luster. Its body seemed to be nurturing a terrifying energy that was trying to break through to the divine king realm. Boom! Boom! A series of violent rumbles came from Qiu's body. After a while, boom! An extremely terrifying aura burst out from Qiu's body, and a powerful pressure spread out from Qiu's body. Lu Ming and Qiu could not help but be pushed back by the pressure. They only stopped after they were 10,000 meters away. The pressure of a divine king. Qiu has really broken through. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Qiu's strength was already very shocking. If it broke through to the divine king realm, it was unknown how powerful it would be. Now, it was Lu Ming's first time in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. He did not know what kind of crisis he would face. Now that Qiu had broken through, it would become a powerful helper for Lu Ming. Hoo hoo hoo, the boundless energy between heaven and earth continued to gather towards Chocho. Only after a few hours did Chocho stop absorbing energy, and its aura also stabilized. First level Divine King Realm. Lu Ming could sense that Chocho's cultivation was at the first level of the Divine King Realm. After it concealed its aura, eyes and a mouth appeared on Chocho's round body. It looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I've made a breakthrough to the Divine King Realm. Ha ha ha. Chocho opened its mouth and laughed heartily. It pounced toward Lu Ming and landed on his shoulder. You can speak? Lu Ming smiled. I can. I'll be able to do it once I break through to the God King Realm. Unfortunately, I'm only at the first level of the God King Realm. Chocho even sighed. Lu Ming and Yu were speechless. He had only slept for a few hundred years and he had already reached the Divine King Realm. If other people knew about this, they would be infuriated to death. Lu Ming, why are you only at the third level Celestial Deity Realm? How do you cultivate? Then Chocho spoke again, almost causing Lu Ming to suffer internal injuries from anger. Lu Ming's eyelids twitched a few times. Yes, you're awesome. That's enough. In the future, if I encounter an opponent I can't beat, I'll rely on you. Don't worry, leave it to me. I feel like I have an endless amount of power. Chocho shouted, its round body bouncing around in the air. Chocho had broken through to the Divine King Realm. Lu Ming was in a good mood. He took out a large amount of precious metals for Chocho to eat. After Chocho saw these metals, its eyes lit up. It stretched out 2 tentacles, grabbed them and stuffed them into its mouth. It looked very happy. Chocho woke up, and the following days became more lively. Soon the 10 days were up. On this day, Lu Ming, Yu, Wu Ming, and Wu Yu met up and left the Wu family for the Universal Camp. The Universal Camp was also on this planet, the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, and was rather far away from the Wu family. The 4 of them quickly flew towards the Universal Camp. Lu Ming, wait. Just as they were flying over a mountain range, the Liang character mumbled, looking very anxious. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he immediately shouted, wait a moment. He pulled Choyu's hand and stopped. Brother Lu, what's wrong? Seeing that Lu Ming had suddenly stopped, Wu Ming and Wu Yu also stopped and looked at Lu Ming in surprise. Lu Ming did not answer. He did not know what was going on. He was asking about the quantity formula. Old Liang, what's going on? Lu Ming asked. I don't know the details, but I can sense that there's an abnormality in the energy in the area ahead, the quantity formula said. Abnormal energy? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right. The energy is abnormal. It's drawn but not released. It's very powerful and extremely similar to some kind of great array, the quantity formula said. The quantity formula did not understand formations, but it was extremely sensitive to energy. A great formation? Lu Ming frowned. There was actually a large formation in this barren mountain. Could there be some ruins in front? Lu Ming's imagination ran wild. There might be a large formation up ahead. Lu Ming said to Wu Yu and Wu Ming. A formation? Could it be some ruins? Wu Ming and Wu Yu also thought so. I don't know, but this formation is very powerful. I'm afraid we can't break it. Let's note down the location and find an expert to break it in the future. Let's go around this place first. Lu Ming said. Wu Ming and Wu Yu nodded. This was a more secure method. Then, everyone detoured around this area and advanced in another direction. However, they had not flown far when a group of people surrounded Lu Ming and the other 3 in the middle of the barren mountain below. They were a group of people wearing long robes with blood-red edges. They had wooden expressions, but each of them exuded a cold killing intent. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2974 Killing Intent. Death Warrior, please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronim. Who are you? Wu Yu and Wu Ming's expressions changed drastically as they shouted out. However, these people in blood-rimmed robes didn't even look at Wu Ming and Wu Yu. Their expressions were still wooden. You can actually sense the formation that we have set up and go around it. Impressive. However, you still have to die. One of the burly men spoke. Even as he spoke, His expression was still wooden and his voice was cold, as if there was no emotion at all. So that formation was set up by you guys. Lu Ming's gaze turned cold. It seemed that the other party had been waiting for them here for a long time and had set up a big formation here. Fortunately, the measure character had sensed an unusual energy fluctuation and thus avoided the big formation. Otherwise, once they walked into the big formation set up by others, it would be more likely to be a disaster. Who was the other party? Lu Ming thought of Qin Wuyo and the rest. In the Qin Heaven Starfield, Lu Ming had fought against Qin Wuyo and the others, suppressing a group of geniuses from the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion and offending a group of people. Those people had a reason to kill Lu Ming, but he didn't meet Qin Wuyo and the others when he came. How did they know that Lu Ming was here? There was also Wu Shui and the others he had met on Mount Modu. Those people had a reason to kill Lu Ming. However, they did not know that he had come to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Could it be that in being followed? Lu Ming's heart suddenly moved as he thought of this possibility. This was the only way for the Wu family to get to the Universal Camp. If not for the fact that the other party had been paying attention to his whereabouts, how could they possibly have set up a formation here? Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind in an instant. However, the other party had already made their move. Kill! A saber appeared in the hands of the 3 dull-looking burly men. 2 rays of saber light slashed toward Lu Ming at the same time. Fast, extremely fast, and they all attacked at the same time without a single mistake. Their cooperation was flawless. This was clearly the result of many years of training. If you want to kill my Wu family's friends, you'll have to get past us first. Wu Yu and Wu Ming shouted and attacked as well. The divine skills that the 2 of them cultivated were extremely special. As soon as they attacked, tens of thousands of horses galloped forward. Hundreds of divine horses stepped on the void, wanting to trample the enemy to death. However, as the blade light slashed, the mystical horses were shattered one by one. In an instant, the hundreds of mystical horses were all annihilated. Wu Ming and Wu Yu were forced back and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Half-step Divine King, which family are you from? Wu Ming and Wu Yu shouted at the same time in shock. The 2 of them were 8th-level heavenly gods and the divine energy they controlled was undoubtedly divine-grade divine energy. However, the opponent's cultivation had reached the half-step Divine King realm, and he completely suppressed them. Let's go down and find the answer. The 2 middle-aged men said coldly. They attacked again and charged at Lu Ming. The other men in long robes surrounded them to prevent Lu Ming and the rest from escaping. Roar! Lu Ming let out an ancient god's roar. His body expanded rapidly and turned into an ancient god body. Boom! Boom! The long spear shook and swept out. It swept across the opponent's blade light and exploded with 2 loud bangs. The 2 middle-aged men were directly sent flying. His strength is indeed astonishing. Let's attack together and end this battle quickly. A man in a long robe with blood-red edges shouted coldly. His figure flashed and he charged towards Lu Ming. The others also made their moves at the same time. One after another, blade lights were dazzling and full of killing intent. This was a killing blade. There were no unnecessary tricks, but it was fast, fierce, and powerful. You guys stay behind me. Lu Ming waved his hand and a stream of divine power enveloped Qiu Yu, Wu Ming and Wu Yu. Then, he shook his long spear and rays of spear radiance burst out. Dozens of huge spear shadows filled the void and stabbed in all directions. Rumbling sounds could be heard in the sky. There were a total of 12 men in blood-red robes. All of them were at the half-step Divine King realm and they were cultivating divine skills that could kill. When they worked together, their strength was terrifying. Even with Lu Ming's current abilities, it was difficult for him to fight. Buzz! A ray of saber light passed through Lu Ming's attack and slashed at his body, producing a sizzling sound and 4-colored sparks. A green scale was cut open and blood seeped out. The other party's attack was enough to break through Lu Ming's defense. Get lost. Let's go. Lu Ming shouted as he cast the Divine Dragon Materialization Art. The 7 9-clawed Divine Dragons charged wildly in one direction. At the same time, Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed in that direction as well. Bang! Bang! A series of collisions broke out. A few people in long robes with blood-red edges were pushed back by the 9-clawed Divine Dragon phenomenon. Lu Ming took the opportunity to break out of the encirclement. After breaking out of the encirclement, he protected Qiu Yu and the rest behind him. Lu Ming had no more reservations. If you want to kill me, then you can all stay here today. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with ruthlessness. He had rushed out of the encirclement not to escape but to make a better attack. Star explosion. A low growl came from Lu Ming's mouth. Then the divine power in Lu Ming's body surged wildly into the long spear. Buzz! A huge spear light burst out from the long spear and stabbed at the 12 men in blood-red robes. Go around it! Attack! A man in a blood-red robe shouted coldly. The 12 men in blood-red robes used their strange identities and dodged the attack of the spear light. They then came from both sides of the spear light. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. How could he easily get around Exploding Star? Explode! Lu Ming muttered. Boom! The huge spear radiance suddenly exploded and turned into countless strong qi that swept in all directions. Like a stormy sea, it crushed the 12 men in blood-red robes. Not good. The expressions of the 12 men changed drastically as they frantically retreated. However, they were still hit by the powerful qi and coughed up blood. They were all heavily injured. Kill! Lu Ming took the opportunity to attack. However, at this moment Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. He could feel a terrifying pressure coming down from the sky. Then an immense force came crashing down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming could not be bothered to kill the other party. He waved his spear and swept it towards the sky. Only then did he realize that there was also a saber flare slashing toward him from the sky. Boom! The saber ray slashed at the long spear. In an instant, Lu Ming's expression changed. The power of this saber ray was terrifyingly strong, as unfathomable as the ocean. Lu Ming trembled violently and his body retreated rapidly. The long spear in his hand trembled continuously and he almost lost his grip and flew out. God King! Lu Ming muttered and looked at the sky. In the sky, there was also a man in a long robe with blood-red edges. He looked to be in his 60s. He stepped on the void and descended from the sky. This man was a Divine King expert. The man in the blood-red robe looked at Lu Ming in surprise. When I received the news saying how monstrous a 4th-level celestial deity's combat strength is, I originally didn't believe it and let them give it a try. I didn't expect that your strength is even more terrifying than imagined. The other party sighed. This man in the blood-rimmed robe had more emotions than the other men. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2976 Killing a God King in Succession. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicronym. Death Warriors, you are Death Warriors. Suddenly, Wu Ming thought of something, and his expression turned extremely ugly. So what if you can? The Divine King man in the blood-red robe sneered. Which family do you belong to? We are the core disciples of the Wu family. Are you trying to start a war with the Wu family by killing us? Wu Yu shouted. If I kill all of you, who will know who killed you? The other party sneered. You guys, Wu Ming and Wu Yu's faces were pale with despair. The enemy had even sent out Divine King warriors. Today they would die for sure. 12 half-step Divine Kings and 1 Divine King. It's almost certain that they will be able to kill us heavenly gods. Since we are dead for sure, can you tell me who sent you? Lu Ming asked, pretending to be in despair. Kid, don't try to trick us. We won't tell you. A cold voice was heard. It did not come from the Divine King, but from behind Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, Qiu Yu, Wu Ming, and Wu Yu's expressions changed as they hurriedly turned around. A man in a long robe with blood-red edges had appeared behind them. He was a skinny middle-aged man, but the aura that emanated from his body was extremely terrifying. God King. Yet another God King. The other party had actually sent out 2 God Kings. Wu Ming and Wu Yu had completely given up. The other party's actions were simply flawless, sending out 2 God Kings. Furthermore, they didn't appear all at once. First, one of them would be dispatched while the other would hide in the dark to check the situation. After confirming that there were no problems, the other God King would appear. 2 Divine Kings, 1 in front and 1 behind, surrounded them. There were also 12 half-step Divine Kings. Lu Ming and the rest were doomed with such a formation. Lu Ming also pretended to look miserable. He sighed and said, "Two God Kings. What a grand plan. Is there any more? Come out together. We have enough people to kill you all." The skinny middle-aged man behind said, "Since we're dead for sure, can you tell me why you want to kill me? Is it for revenge? Or is it for something I have?" Lu Ming asked again. He wanted to take the opportunity to get some clues from the other party. However, the two Divine King realm men remained expressionless and silent, not revealing any information. However, Lu Ming caught the expressions of the few half-step Divine Kings in the blood-rimmed robes. When Lu Ming asked this question, a few half-step Divine Kings in blood-red robes subconsciously glanced at the storage ring on Lu Ming's finger. He was not seeking revenge. He still wanted to take something from Lu Ming. Lu Ming made a judgment instantly. What was it? Lu Ming's mind was racing. Don't waste your breath on him. Let's complete the mission first. The skinny middle-aged man shouted from behind, exuding a terrifying killing intent. Buzz! A terrifying saber light slashed toward Lu Ming. "Chocho, I'll leave it to you." Lu Ming waved his hand and Chocho flew behind him. "Just leave the two first-level Divine King realm fellows to me." Chocho's voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. Then its body swelled up and turned into a huge metal ball, charging forward. Thump! Chocho's saber light was shattered by Chocho's attack. It didn't stop and charged toward the skinny middle-aged man. The skinny middle-aged man was shocked. He didn't expect that his attack would be destroyed by a metal ball. Die! Chocho shouted loudly. Its huge body pressed down like a mountain. Get lost! The skinny middle-aged man reacted and slashed out with his saber. Thump! This blade struck Chocho's body, but it didn't split Chocho's body apart as he had expected. Instead, it was his own body that trembled violently and he retreated repeatedly, his arm numb. Kill, kill, kill. Chocho stretched out two tentacles, which turned into two battle sabers, and madly slashed toward the skinny middle-aged man. In an instant he had slashed out hundreds of times. The skinny middle-aged man fought back with all his might. Thump, thump, thump. The two of them collided continuously, but the skinny middle-aged man was completely outmatched. He blocked a few moves with all his might before Chocho slashed him horizontally. His body was cut in two and he almost died. Damn it! How is this possible? At this moment, the Divine King in front of Lu Ming seemed to have woken up from a dream and was shouting loudly. Kill, quickly kill that brat. The skinny man was cut in half by Chocho, but he didn't die. He roared loudly at this moment. Die! The King of Gods in front of Lu Ming shouted and attacked. A terrifying saber light slashed at Lu Ming. Moon slaying. Lu Ming waved his long spear, exploding all his strength and slashing out. Thump! Lu Ming felt as if he had been hit by an archaic divine mountain. His body shook violently. His body, which was hundreds of meters tall, was forced to retreat. He felt the chi and blood in his body churning and he spat out a mouthful of blood. A Divine King was much more powerful than a Divine Realm expert and even a half-step Divine King. Lu Ming was no match for a Divine King with his current cultivation base. The moment Lu Ming retreated, Xiao Yu, Wu Ming, and Wu Yu were exposed to the other party. I'll kill the three of you first. The other party shouted coldly and slashed out. A terrifying blood-red blade light slashed towards Xiao Yu and the other two. If they were hit, they would definitely die with their cultivation. Ball, Lu Ming roared. Leave it to me. Chocho opened its mouth, and then bolts of lightning spread out from its round body. A bolt of lightning as thick as an arm burst forth and charged toward the Divine King in front of Lu Ming. The speed of the lightning was extremely fast. In a flash it arrived first and bombarded the opponent's saber light. With a pft, the opponent's saber light was extinguished. The lightning did not stop and bombarded the opponent's body. Ah! A shrill scream was heard, and then there was no more sound. When the lightning disappeared, all that could be seen was a charred corpse floating in the air. There was no sign of life at all. The next moment the charred corpse fell to the ground. He was dead. A God King had died just like that. At this moment, the skinny man and the other men in blood-red robes had a drastic change in their expressions. To kill a God King with a single move, what kind of cultivation was this? Let's go. The skinny middle-aged man shouted and half of his body retreated in an attempt to escape. Did I let you go? Die. Chocho's voice rang out as it slashed out with its saber. This blade carried traces of lightning. The scrawny man let out a blood-curdling screech and followed in the footsteps of the previous God King, being struck into a charred corpse. Yet another God King had died. The 12 half-step Divine King realm men in blood-red robes were shocked and ran away in all directions. If you want to escape, then stay behind. Lu Ming shouted coldly. He cast the 9 heavenly Kuan-Peng technique and chased after his opponent. At the same time, Chocho also chased after it. It opened its mouth and bolts of lightning shot out like an electric net. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2976 Full of doubts. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicronim. The power of the lightning that Chocho spat out from its mouth was truly shocking. Charged forward like an electric net. The 3 men in blood-red robes were swept away, and their bodies turned into ashes. At the same time, Lu Ming brandished his long spear and shot out thousands of spearlights at the people in blood-red robes who were trying to escape, blocking their path. Then, Chocho arrived and killed a few more people. At this moment, Wu Ming and Wu Yu were completely dumbfounded. This battle situation had turned around too quickly. Initially, they had lost all hope. The enemy had sent 12 half-step Divine Kings and 2 Divine Kings. With such a lineup, they were sure that they would die. He had never expected that Lu Ming would suddenly throw out a metal ball that was so powerful. In just a few moves, he had finished off the 2 opposing Divine Kings. A Divine King metallic life form. Wu Ming and Wu Yu muttered, their hearts still unable to calm down. Chocho, leave him alive. At this moment, Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Chocho. All right. Chocho responded. Its 2 tentacles turned into 2 huge hammers and rushed to the head of a man in a long robe with blood-red edges. The hammers smashed down. Although the man in the blood-red robe tried his best to resist, how could he resist Chocho's power with his strength? Even Divine Kings of the same level couldn't resist Chocho's attack. Boom! The man in the blood-red robe was smashed to the ground like a meteorite, crushing a mountain. A huge pit appeared on the ground, and the man was lying in the pit, twitching and spitting out blood. He was half dead and could not move. Then Chocho charged at another man in a long robe with blood-colored edges. With Lu Ming's obstruction and Chocho's astonishing speed, the people in the long robes could not escape at all. Thump! Boom! One by one, Chocho hammered the remaining 6 men in blood-red robes to the ground. They were all embedded in the ground, half dead. 12 half-step Divine Kings and 2 Divine Kings done. How is it? Lu Ming am amazing, right? Chocho's body shrunk and it flew in front of Lu Ming, looking like it was asking for credit. Amazing, amazing, absolutely amazing. Lu Ming was in awe. He was really in awe. Chocho's combat strength was becoming more and more amazing. Those who could reach the Divine King realm were all heaven's favorites with great strength. However, the 2 Divine Kings of the other side were completely suppressed by Chocho, and were unable to retaliate at all. Lu Ming speculated that Chocho's strength was definitely able to contend with an ordinary second-stage Divine King. If it were to go all out, it might be able to compete with a third-stage Divine King. It should be known that it was much more difficult to fight above one's realm at the King God realm than at the Heavenly God realm, True God realm, and Ethereal God realm. Many people who were able to fight against those at a higher level than them were unable to do so once they reached the God King realm. After chatting with Chocho for a while, Lu Ming's body transformed into the size of a normal person. He took a step forward and landed beside a man in a long robe with blood-red edges. Tell me who sent you. If you tell me, I can spare your life. Lu Ming said. If you want to kill me, then kill me. Don't even think about getting a single word out of me. The other party said coldly. You're not afraid of death? Lu Ming's voice was even colder. If you want to kill, then kill. The other party was expressionless and showed no fear. Lu Ming was very straightforward. With a flick of his finger, a ray of spear light burst out and pierced the person's glabella, killing him. Then in a flash, he appeared beside the next man in the blood-red robe. Speak, who sent you? Lu Ming continued to ask. The man had seen everything that had happened, but there was no fear in his eyes. He said with a wooden expression, "If you want to kill me, then kill me. Don't even think about getting a single word out of my mouth." The answer was exactly the same as the previous person. "Do you think I can't do anything if you don't answer?" Lu Ming snorted coldly. Divine energy gushed out and he controlled the person. Then he cast a soul-searching technique to find the answer from the person's soul. However, when Lu Ming's spiritual consciousness approached the other party's soul suddenly glowed and emitted powerful fluctuations. Not good. Lu Ming was shocked. He quickly withdrew his spiritual sense. The moment he withdrew his spiritual sense, the other party's head exploded like a watermelon with a bang. Self-destruct. Lu Ming's face was gloomy. A self-destruction restriction had been set up in the other party's soul. Once another person's soul got close, the other party's soul would self-destruct. Lu Ming, it's no use. These are men of sacrifice trained by the great aristocratic families. There's a self-destruction restriction in their souls. It's impossible to find out any information by soul searching. At this moment, Wu Ming, Wu Yu and Qiu Yu flew over. Men of sacrifice trained by great families? Which great families train suicide soldiers? Lu Ming asked. Some of the big aristocratic families in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion have trained death warriors to carry out some shady missions in secret. Our Wu family has them too, Wu Ming said. That's right, and these men of sacrifice are extremely well hidden. There's no way to tell which clan they belong to, Wang Chong said. Wu Yu replied. Let's try again. Lu Ming was still unwilling to give up. He began interrogating the remaining 4 men in the blood-red robes. However, the other party did not say a word. If he were to search the soul, the other party's soul would explode. In the end, Lu Ming had no choice but to finish off the rest of the men in blood-red robes. What a pity! Lu Ming sighed softly. He had a feeling that these men of sacrifice were here for something on him. Lu Ming speculated that it was most likely the storage ring of the Night Demon Lord. If it's really for the Night Demon King's storage ring, it's very likely to be related to the 9 Absolute Divine Crystal being stolen. There might be clues in the Night Demon King's storage ring, so they want to take it back. Lu Ming kept thinking, but he had more doubts. He had already checked the Night Demon Lord's storage ring, but he had found nothing. Originally, he wanted to find out who had sent them to kill him. If he could find the person behind it, he might be able to find the person who had stolen the 9 Absolute Divine Crystal. Unfortunately, all the clues were gone. Looks like he'll have to be more careful in the future. This time it's all thanks to Qiu Qiu. Lu Ming was secretly glad. He had to admit that he was quite lucky. Fortunately, Qiu Qiu had woken up before this and its strength had greatly improved. Otherwise, he would really be in danger. Lu Ming, let's hurry to the Universal Camp. There are many experts in the Universal Camp. No matter which organization it is, they wouldn't dare to send people to commit murder in the Universal Camp. Wu Ming said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. Then, the 4 of them set off for the Universal Camp. Not long after Lu Ming and the other 3 left, a few black-robed men appeared. When the black-robed men saw the corpses on the ground, they were dumbfounded. What's going on? What was going on? Even a god king was killed. That brat is definitely not that strong. One of the black-robed men roared. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.